All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to the 2021 World Rift Asia Brawl Week 2 group stage. This week we got a winner versus winners, loser versus losers from Week 1. It's actually really interesting how everything's laid out. But before we're getting into all the details between all those matches and all the exciting matches for today, I do want to do a big shout out to our sponsors, without whom this tournament would not be possible. So if you're watching the stream, ladies and gentlemen, big shout out to the main sponsor of the World Rift Asia Brawl, Trovo.live. Trovo is hosting a variety of tournament events for League of Legends World Rift, with a bunch of prizes for you to claim, including 30,000 World Core giveaway throughout this tournament, starting the playoff stage, coming in 2 weeks. So next week's going to be week 3, and then the week after that, the playoff stage, we're going to start the first giveaway. So stay tuned, and head to Trovo.live with the link in the chat. Without Trovo's generous support, this tournament simply would not be possible. So if you're watching the stream right now, weekly Sunday matches and grand finals for the World Rift Asia Brawl will be streamed on Trovo exclusively. So make sure to use the link to head to Trovo right away. Another big shout out to our one and only World Rift Asia Brawl. World Rift Competitive. World Rift Competitive is a central place for all things competitive. They host weekly tournaments and events for the community. They also provide an easy way to find scrimmage and recruit for your teams. Instead, if you're interested in competitive news, instead of wandering around looking for information, just go to World Rift Competitive with the social media links in description, and there you go. All your problems will be solved in a snap, just like today's one of our teams, One Snap Esports. Now, I do want to do a big shout out to our wonderful, handsome casters today, TJ and D2. They are in the chat with me. How you guys doing, guys? Boys?
TJ, you go first.
I was gonna let Daniel go first, because I always go first.
We're just too polite.
Okay.
This is why
it was just an awkward silence.
Yeah,
Hi,
unfortunately.
that's how we're doing, Dave. Back over to you.
Fantastic. Cannot be better. So I'm glad our casters are doing well. So, yep, they're going to bring us more exciting matches today. The current standing are being shown on the screen right now, so you guys can take a look of the current standing for Group 1. Those are the matches those are the teams going to play today. So make sure to take a look at those, and I think our casters will explain the standing as well. Now, if you want to find out all the previous matches, all you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, and in the playlist, there's a World Rift Asia Brawl playlist. All the previous matches and streams are archived in that playlist. So anything you want to find, make sure you head to that playlist, and there you go. So with that, we're going to go ahead and hand it over to our wonderful caster desk. Go ahead.
TJ, you go first.
What's up? It's me, your caster desk. I'm going first. Yeah, this is a very exciting day. We promised to talk a little bit about the standings. We are starting here with Bigatron Infinity playing One Snap. Bigatron on the left. We're on their POV right now. Both these teams won their match last week. One Snap looked real good, 2-0ing Soul of Soy, and Bigatron Infinity took a 2-1 win over Omega Esports.
Yeah, and when we watch this match, we'll get a better idea of where these two teams stand. Like, for instance, if we see One Snap Esports just, walk all over Big Echon, then it's like, maybe One Snap is the dominant team. And, Big Echon's 2-1 last week was kind of indicative of them being in the middle of the pack, that sort of thing. So it'll be real eye-opening once we see these games started. But we did have the bans come in earlier, and Big Echon, they banned Gragas and Alistair, and One Snap banned Kennen and Lee Sin, despite Gragas and Lee Sin both getting nerfs in the latest patch.
Yeah, I thought both of them were kind of the lighter nerfs. I have to tell you, coming from PC League of Legends, in PC League of Legends, characters get nerfed so gradually. Someone will be like one-shotting entire teams, and they'll like turn down their move speed by 5%, and you're like, really? And then I'm looking at the Wild Rift patch notes, and they're like, let's turn that down by 60%. And that's wild to me.
It is early, though, so I can understand. I
did both get the lighter nerfs. One of the characters that got heavier nerfs, actually, was Misfortune. So I'm interested to see her picked up here today.
Compared to how ridiculously dominant she was, I don't think that her nerf was like that crazy. I'm actually looking at it right now. We can talk about it. So Double Up, which is her main damage dealer, they tone the base damage by 10 per level, or excuse me, 10 throughout the game, right? So it's actually not that bad. And then their attack speed on Strut is down 10% throughout the game as well. So it's like she's kind of just toned down throughout the game, but it's not like these massive damage buffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do think it is still important. Let's talk about these compositions. As we get into it, you have an Orianna available here for Bigatron. They're going to be trying to use that in combination with the Olaf, but the Olaf is kind of the only ball carrier, unless that Vi builds a little bit more tanky, a little bit more survivable. I'm a little worried for the backlines as well. The Misfortune Janna don't have any tanks to protect them. So you're looking at the Xin Zhao on the opposite side of One Snap Esports, I think, to be able to gain access to that Orianna Misfortune backline and do some serious damage.
Yeah, just looking at this big E-Tron composition, it's like all damage all the time. And it feels like even the frontliners are more focused on dealing damage than staying alive. And their backliners are just, poking all day, every day. And then you have the Janna to help kind of just keep everything stitched together, right? And sometimes it can be just so frustrating because you're doing... Frustrating for the other team, I mean, because you're doing so much damage. And Janna's kind of just shielding everyone, making everything annoying. But then it could just all fall apart. And Janna's like, I can't shield all of you guys. Why are you so weak?
I mean, it's a CC game, right? And this is also a very, very snowbally team for Bigatron. If they get out ahead, if their characters get good, then they're just going to be able to one-shot team fights. And also, the CC, the stuns, will be on a short enough cooldown that they'll win these team fights by default. If they do not get out ahead, if they fall behind, I think we favor One Snap in this match. And we'll swap over to their more traditional composition here as we take a look at their POV. You can see that they do have that Brawl, they do have that Xin Zhao. We have multiple perspectives. And I think that's going to be a much healthier front line. You also have the wild growth to amp up anyone there.
One thing to talk about for a moment here is that I feel like One Snap has more of a traditional comp, right? Not traditional, but just kind of a more put together, stable composition. Whereas, like you mentioned, Big E-Tron is very snowbally. And the fact that they're snowballing means this game is gonna, I feel like, snowball in one direction or the other. Because when we talk about snowball, we're talking about both directions here, right? They can go out of control with their damage, but if they don't start snowballing, then they really fall the other direction.
The snowball is on the top of the hill right now, and it can roll either way, baby. it can roll back over Bigatron like one of those cartoons.
Exactly. And Wile E. Coyote is like somewhere on the scene trying to make sure that goes perhaps in their way. But
we do have a bit of a mismatch right now. 3 members from Bigatron currently shoving into that Diana down bottom, whilst One Snap gather their 3-man core up towards the top side. Actually make it a 4-man core as that Lulu's kind of drifting up here as well.
I actually wasn't really paying attention.
For turret lights.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to where people were situated as we were talking about the compositions, but did they rotate recently there, or were they dueling from the bottom
of spawn?
Oh, okay.
Both these teams kind of handshaked into this. And One Snap have kind of lost because the first turret break did go over to Bigatron, so they had a little bit more gold.
That said, for One Snap, they do have the dragon side turret down, which will help really immensely when they go for that fight, because now there's nowhere to run if you are Big E-Tron when you're taking that fight. So you kind of the positions you can take are really lessened when you don't really have the turret to fall back to.
We haven't even talked about the most exciting change in this patch, Daniel. League of GA is no more.
I don't think that's going to be true. I fully expect to see the Misfortune.
That's what they said in the patch notes, though, so I believed them.
It's really, I mean, it's a pretty big nerf, but it still is extremely strong item, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah, I mean, people will still build them. But, League of Legends PC, they're a late game item. They're a final build item that you build when you're going for team fights in the late game. And I think this will shove it more towards that role.
Yeah, I would say so. I think we're just gonna see the amount of champions who pick it like cut in half, though. But I still think there's gonna be that half remaining. So
we do have the first drink of the game just 20 seconds out, so we can offer your theory here as we're gonna stay Just watching a little bit of poke here. This is the Bigatron perspective, the Bigatron top laner. I thought maybe there would be some action breaking out here, but there is not. One snap in the meantime.
Well, mid lane, if we're looking at it, is getting
Yeah.
really pushed in. They even take the
press
turret.
forward. They take the turret. There's the Glacial Fissure as well to start the fight. A very good fight for One Snap Esports as they continue to shove forward. The Wild Growth will keep this Brawl alive for Chana, taking so much damage at the front of the fight. A flash forward will be able to get 1 kill, 2 kills for the Olaf. But that is all, and now here's the turn. Chami on the front lines, and they are completely demolishing Bigatron. Only Henry is alive.
Very sloppy fight there for Bigatron. Not only were they late in coming back to try to save the turret, but they came in after the turret was already dead. And so that meant that they were just taking an even fight. Normally you want to take a fight under your own turret, right? But then they came from a bad angle. And they took it after the turret was down. And we saw Olaf going in by himself after everyone's already dead.
Back.
That was, oof. Yeah.
One snap immediately off of the full respawns, get their tanks back, and they say, we'll go right back in. And it's not gone well.
Yeah, this time One Snap gets the worst of it, and maybe they should have been more together that fight. So both teams just kind of being a little bit sloppy here, even though, as we can see, that our One Snap player is
complaining about his FPS. Yeah. That's not why you lost the fight. I watched.
We can see you on stream. Hey, you never know. Maybe he's pressing buttons and they just weren't going off. It could be the case.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. First strike of the game does go over to Bigatron as One Snap. Despite winning the initial fight, don't win it by a wide enough margin to really get anything out of it.
Yeah, this is the definition of a back and forth game, which is exactly the opposite of what we predicted at the beginning, right? It was like it's going to go one way or the other, and these teams are like, how about we don't prove that right?
I think... Oh, sorry, I'm going to get distracted here as Bigatron are still kind of grouping that mob. A 3-man gank squad. And they find a kill, sure enough, grabbing that Lulu off the rotate from mid. And that will turn into another turret.
You know, TJ, I have no way to make any sense of this game right now. Because it just seems like, you know, Bigatron take a terrible fight, but then they come back and make some good moves roaming around the map, but then One Snap is just kind of late to the rotations and letting Bigatron rotate onto turrets and kill them. It's a little bit sloppy here. I'm not going to lie here.
Yeah, I mean, Bigatron are playing to their team composition's strengths, which is taking these skirmishy fights where their overwhelming damage will find them wins. I think the problem is that One Snap are doing a poor job of forcing the fights that play to their composition's advantage, which will be full 5v5 fights where they set the pace around major objectives.
Right. Well, it's not just setting it around major objectives, but also making sure that they get to the backline in particular and make sure you take out those key targets.
Well, that's why the major objectives help, because it will mean that One Snap are able to kind of engage in order. Like here, you can see Bigatron have to focus in on this Rift Herald. So theoretically, One Snap could come in. Indeed, they do, round the side, but it's a huge shockwave. Bullet time to follow up. Wild Growth will keep this Olaf alive in the front lines. And so far, so good. One Snap getting slaughtered. Bigatron for another big team fight. As this Olaf's gone huge, you can see the kiting there from Dua as they go massive. A triple kill on Misfortune to complete the team fight in favor again of Bigatron.
Yeah, the thing is, that was such a bizarre team fight. You saw the Olaf go in and really take a lot of the damage for his team, which, you know, he kind of can do, but he's not the biggest tank in the world. And yet it was just enough for his team to pop off. And you saw the massive damage coming out from that Misfortune the entire time to really secure that win for them. That said, it was only really a 3-4-2 when it all was said and done.
It was a 3-for-2, but the 3 went on to the Misfortune, and the Drake went over to Bigatron. Or sorry,
the
Rift Herald.
Yeah.
So, very important. So, Dua got all the kills there, did a lot of the damage. The reason that Olaf... Okay, I'm going to hold this because we got another fight. I think it's just Chami getting called out, though.
Yeah, very much. Like,
we don't need to discuss it. Anyway, the reason the Olaf doesn't die there is because that is the exact kind of fight that an Olaf excels at. You have like 16 people in melee range, you pop the Ragnarok, and you drink the blood of your enemies.
I'm always afraid to pop my Ragnarok when I'm near them because it actually makes you weaker. It makes you more likely to die, though it does make you pretty much or literally unstoppable.
If you have the lifesteal and you have your Ragnarok up, you are unkillable. If there are enough people around you to hit, which in that case there were.
For sure. There are also other basically threats on his side, so it's not like the entire team was focusing him down.
Oh, Shockwave will be spent. Blanche in trouble. Good Glacial Fissure will CC up the front line here for Bigatron. For Chana, able to hold back a lot of this Misfortune damage, but not protect Certs from this Olaf that just keeps going. Certs does have the damage to find the kill. Have the damage to turn on to do a double kill for the Kai'Sa at the back of the fight, but it's not enough to save it for one Snap, who lose yet another team fight.
Camille has to get back right now, or otherwise this could be really bad for them. You can see Camille on the minimap. Yeah, Camille needs to get back to defend her base. Poor old Braum trying to do it all by himself. But looks like
they're down now, but the inhibitor turret's already down. Blanche will push forward.
Oh! That was spicy. Yeah, Oriana's like, well, you can't jump on me. I know that. You don't have your damage dealers to do anything against me. So she's like, I'm just going to stick around and kill you if that's okay. And she does.
Because they opt for that inhibitor turret, Bigatron don't get the Drake immediately, but they can turn for this.
I just love getting the inhibitor turret, though. If you were to ask me which one is more important, I say inhibitor turret all day. It just completely warps the map. You always have those super minions pushing, and what's the obviously the Drake will help you in a team fight, but you know what helps in a team fight as well? Having more numbers than your opponent. Because someone's over in the other lane?
Yeah.
So.
And I would absolutely agree with you. It was the right order of operations because the inhibitor turret makes it easier to get the drag. Oh my god, he's just in again! Ragnarok popped a deep dive, a huge shockwave in the meantime. Wild Growth will be spent on Fortuna, and the bullet time absolutely chews through him. A big kill, shutting down the Olaf immediately. Now the focus needs to shift to Certs, who's kiting back as best they can, and Control with the dive will confirm the kill. The shielding is huge. It is keeping this Olaf alive, and we doubted Bigatron's team fight composition. I doubt it no longer. There's the Rift Herald. It's been sitting inside the pocket of this Olaf for a long time. They'll finally throw the Pokeball. This will be the Drake picked up, and I believe that mid-inhibitor turret falling as well.
Yeah, they might actually go for it. I'm trying to look on the small part of the screen there. They do get the inhibitor turret. Let's take a look at this replay again. Like you mentioned, huge damage coming with the Misfortune, but it's just the fact that they snowballed so hard is the main reason why, right? Because you see the Olaf, he jumps in. They can't kill him fast enough. Not only can they not kill him fast enough, but the multiple members of the other team that jumped onto the backline of the Bigatron, they couldn't kill their backline fast enough, so everyone's just alive. And that's problematic when everyone's just alive because they're raining damage on you on the other end.
So, just to recap what happened while we were in replay, that mid-turret did fall. We'll swap over to the one-snap perspective. So, you can see their mid-turrets are gone, and Blanche, who we're spectating, is rather upset about that. The Drake was also picked up by the Olaf, which means they've now got, I believe, 3 Drakes in their pocket. 2 Drakes.
Oh, no, 2 Drakes, yeah. Fortunately, Blanche looked at the menu for us. He's like, TJ, take a look.
2 Drakes, bud. Get better at counting, says Blanche.
Yeah, I mean, the game really hasn't focused on the Drakes too much. It's focused more on Bigatron roaming around and trying to get turrets, and it's certainly helped them quite a bit here. They've built not only lead in turrets, but in gold as well. And you can just see in these team fights, even though Bigatron should be a fragile team comp, the one snap cannot do enough damage to kill them in time before they just get run over.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to read this game. We talked a little bit about the potential of this team to snowball when we started, and Bigatron certainly have that, where this Olaf and Vi have gone from what should be kind of squishy bruisers to truly terrifying teamfight threats, just because they are out ahead.
Yeah, and they're just fulfilling every, meaning of the word bruiser, right? They're dealing damage and they're soaking a lot of damage in the meantime. And if they're soaking lots of damage as well, then that means their backline's doing a lot of damage.
Oh, Hextech ultimatum will be deployed. Henry in trouble. That is exactly what Shammy needs to do, but in the meantime, Blanche is just diving the Janna, trying to secure the kill onto the support. That will be confirmed. Dua also in trouble here, but Blanche is losing all of their teammates, and there's a backdoor. The Olaf just diving the Nexus. A double kill pass to the Vi as the Olaf continues the backline dive. That's half HP of the Nexus. Only the Lulu alive. I don't think this is possible. Bigatron able to take game 1 of this best of 3 series.
Oh my goodness! After that kind of crazy game, it was only fitting that it ended in such a wacky way, right? you just have the Xinjiao taking it to Jeddah of all people, and then running away from a misfortune that he really had the upper hand on, because his Nexus was randomly dying, and then they had to run back, and then they lose the game. So, yeah, that's a game for you folks.
I think Bigatron have cracked the Wild Rift meta.
Which is what?
If you keep pushing forward, then you never have to play defense.
If you keep pushing forward, eventually you'll get to the Nexus, and then it'll die and you win the game.
I want to highlight, they had no interest in objectives that game. It was a very kind of Chinese League of Legends playstyle. The Drakes are good when you can have them, but you know what gets you more value on the map? Kills. Which sounds kind of troll, but if you're continually able to get team fights, get wins, you're getting more XP, more gold, and you're actually doubly investing, because not only are you getting more XP and more gold, but you're denying that golden XP to your opponents who are going to be dead for the next 30 seconds. So it's the easiest way to snowball a team fight comp out ahead.
You know what I want to talk about really quickly, though, is the fact that our Orianna was the MVP in the end. We talked about the misfortune. Didn't die, 0 deaths, and built Leandri's Torment second, which it's like, well, I'm just going to be in the fight for a long time. It's like,
if you know that you are a team fight comp that is only team fighting, hell yeah, Leandri's Torment.
It's like, it was just hilarious. Like, I mean, she never died.
It makes
Dave.
It makes Orianna that much stronger. You can build, especially when any team is a little bit tanky. You can do that like all you want.
But the team wasn't tanky. That's the thing. That was the funny part.
Well, it was when you had the Janna Orianna double shields, which I don't think we correctly appreciated how that was going to be.
That's true.
But you were just watching people not die. Dave, I also wanted to go back to what I was ranting about a bit as we came out of game.
Yeah.
I think that game is evidence. Maybe this is just my experience in my solo queue. You've been, I know, streaming your own adventures, so I'm going to go to that. But a lot of Wild Rift players are focusing a little bit too much on that first Drake, especially on the objectives, when really the game is about the XP and the gold, and the Drakes are the ways you get that. So if you can win the team fights, if you can zone the enemy team away, I think that's much more important than actually picking up the objectives. Would you agree?
Well, partially, because like sometimes you can strategically give up the Drake if you can trade it for first tower. First tower also give you a lot of gold. If you talk about that perspective, it's not that important. But the in 5-on-5 competitive, the reason why Drake is so important is because the Dragon Soul system. It's all about like getting that, and then just in case the game get to the point where you have to see the Outer Dragon that comes up at 16 minutes and later, if you get to that Outer Dragon, then having how strong the Outer Dragon is depends on how many previous dragon you have.
But hear me out, Dave. If you've won 3 team fights, then it doesn't matter if they got the first 2 Drakes, because they're not going to get any more.
I think that Dave, first of all, loves getting objectives. Second of all,
maybe I'm preaching to the wrong crowd.
Second of all, like, I think Dave is probably, and I'm thinking of this as well. Like, this game really snowballed, and I think in this particular case, it might be better to just make sure you win team fights and make sure you get more gold, because you don't really want an even team fight at all between these two comps if you're a Biggie-tron. But in a normal game, right, then the slow and steady accumulation of those buffs is like very important because you never know when the other team might come back. Whereas I think in this game, Biggie-tron's like, we're gonna play it in such a way that we never are playing for the possibility of them coming back. If that makes any sense.
I mean, to be honest, I thought that OneSnap has a better team fight competition.
We did as well.
Yeah, but then they were not able to execute it because they're not focused on the same target. Where if you look at Bigatron, they are focused on the same target all the time, which they take out one person and then move on to the next target. Like if you see multiple teams, go ahead.
I don't necessarily agree that one snap had the better team fight comp. I think it was like the more traditional comp, right? It wasn't focused so much on like one idea, but I think having the more simple, I think that Bigatron had a more simple comp in that like we're gonna do this one thing really well, right? We're gonna shield our guys. They're gonna go in. We're gonna do a lot of damage, and we're gonna kill them, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
the theory is you put the Oriana, you put the Janna shield on the Vi and the Olaf, and then you win the team fight. And that's actually, I think, a really solid theory.
Whereas one snap, like, what is the plan behind their team fight? Like, it's just really complicated, right? You have to get in like a certain position. You don't know like how everything's gonna work out. You don't know the positioning of like where's Xinjiao gonna go, where we have our Camille, or is he gonna flank? Like, it's just very complicated, and no one really knows for sure like what the best strategy to go for there. Whereas for Bigatron, it was just like we're gonna do this and we're gonna do it well, and that's just period.
And also, I think that the skills that they should really have the exhaust taken in. Like if you have exhaust, it's straight up counter to someone like Olaf. Because
that's true.
Yeah, when Olaf activate ults, there's no quad control that works. Like Brahms, no skill works. That's why he's also so tanky with Janna's shield and all that. But if you just put exhaust on him, you nullify the effect of his ult. And that's not what happened. So with that, guys, we're gonna quickly come back to the main stage. Hope you guys enjoyed the game 1. We're gonna take a short 2-minute break though, to get ready for the next match. So if you're watching the stream, if you haven't liked, subscribe, and turn that bell on, and share the stream with your friends. Your favorite team, Bigatron versus One Snap, is playing right now, and we're gonna come back after a short break. With that, let's see you guys soon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans and pets, welcome back to the second game between Bigatron and Bigatron Infinity in One Snap Esports. I was about to say that I was Bigatron versus Infinity, what? Sorry about that. And the second game, Ben Pick, is already underway. Bigatron right now is 1-0 in lead against their opposition. And can we take this game to game 3? Can One Step Esports step it up in game 2? We shall find out. Let me quickly send this over to our caster's desk. Go ahead, guys.
We're going real fast, Dave. We're right into game number 2, the pink ban. One Snap got rid of Oriana and Lee Sin. Bigatron banned out Gragas and Alistair. Daniel, D2, Akuda. Talk to me about this pick.
I mean, the pick's on the screen right now?
Yeah.
This pick times 10. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm appreciating that they're not going for the Lulu Brawl combination again. Talking about One Snap Esports, of course, which didn't really work too well last game at all.
But on the other side, we got something special. Lulu, Tristana, and Olaf locked in for Bigatron, and these are characters that actually work really, really well with Lulu. What Lulu does especially well is compensate for not having a tank. You typically want someone who can hard engage, and then you spend the wild growth on them. Tristana or Olaf will both do that. Vi can be a target as well, but I think you'd prefer to spend it on the Olaf, ideally. So I actually really like this Bigatron teamfight comp again, but it's again a snowball comp. They need to start winning early.
Yeah, they're really looking for, you know, all that support from like the rest of the team coming from Lulu in particular. It's funny you say that Lulu can compensate for not having a tank, but she's usually the support, so she's kind of the reason why they don't have a tank in the first place. But
so you're like, hey, we're not gonna have anyone tanky, and sometimes you play, you know, a Janna down on the support side, and then you need to pick someone tankier to play top or jungle. So I think, hey, the map's mirrored. So I think it's actually really important that Lulu has that differentiation power. Opposite side, when you get a Brawl support again, there will be a tank for One Snap Esports. They also have quite a lot of damage. Kai'Sa's still taking up the bot lane. It'll be a Wukong post-nerf. Playing in the jungle. Zed taking up mid, and a cannon up top. Yeah,
we were talking about in the post-match and in the break about how just so little damage that One Snap had last game. So good to see them really shore that up this time. Potential invade. They're kind of threatening
gave it away. For China, gave it away. And now Control goes in real fast, leaves just as quickly. Ward is in this bush, which is going to allow Bigatron to try and fight for it, try and kite away this red buff. Go in. Bigatron got the red buff. Now Blanche is in trouble. Big damage coming out from that Vi. And it will be 1 kill over, 1 kill in response as the Zed peeks down from mid lane. I think that's all we're going to get. One Snap trade 1-for-1 on the early invade.
Yeah, and you can see that, you know, Bigatron was putting a lot into this invade. If they go in and kind of get pushed back, they have to come away with something, right?
Is this...
And... Go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, Dave killed Forchana. So literally the two supports. Supportal combat. There it is.
Oh my goodness. Just so you could go get that. No, the Zed ended up getting the kill on the Evite Zed at the end there. But yeah, I think that Bigatron did that in response to that nerf on Wukong. If you take, sometimes people don't really look at the actual numbers or like what the change was. They just say, oh, buff, nerf, okay, let's not play this champion anymore, or let's play this champion, right? But in the case of Wukong, they nerfed his early game damage, but late game, it's either the same or actually stronger. So that's where he got nerfed, and so that's why they're really just taking advantage of that. Bigatron wanted to take advantage of the fact that One Snap's Wukong was going to be weak in the jungle earlier on.
You can actually also see some really cool as Blanche is kiting these raptors into his bush to just play very well despite Henry's pressure. And it's a little thing, but it's a sign of the fact that these players are getting very comfortable with this game, with the range of the leashing, and I'd like to see it.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to see like what people can get away with as far as pressuring on the other side as well. Like what you can do as far as just using every single second of your time to be as annoying to your opponents as possible. When we saw that Akali come in.
We'll swap over to Bigatron's perspective. Do you want to try and say this Olaf's name? Me and Scoundrel had a gander at it when we were casting this team.
Wait, he needs to look at his own name here. Astronomia. There we go. I'll go with that one.
That's like half the name right there. Where's the rest of it?
No, Astronomia.
Slicing Maelstrom will be deployed. Full engage. Darn near almost kills Chammy.
The minions!
Might kill Chammy! The minions! The flash away! Henry can't make it happen!
Oh no.
Chammy gets to safety. Bigatron are unable to get the trade. That's a kill over to one snap. As to blah 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 blah. Will go down in lane unanswered.
I think I had a good crack at it. I mean, Astronomia, right? Because like I'm using the Q's as kind of like O's, or like I don't know.
Ashqua
Malay. Anyway, that I was about to say that is either the most frustrating thing or the most nerve-wracking thing. It's not good or bad. It's just very frustrating on both sides. Because as a Olaf, you see no health left. Like he should be dead. There's no health left. And then as the Kennen, you're like, oh, get out.
But Chammy did get to safety, which means they've got a pretty significant lead now in this lane. This is actually really awkward back timing. I don't know what that's about. Is this a lane swap that just got called?
I think they're just going really hard onto the Drake potentially. Like he's doing kind of a beeline toward there. So
yeah, back to get the Vamp Scepter, which is a very important Olaf item. That's of course most of your early lifesteal. We'll see if one snap are interested in this Drake. They don't even really have vision on it. They have a single ward there.
Yeah, and you can see that Bigatron's on it right now.
Everyone. Yeah, they see everyone from Bigatron on this Drake. Here we go. Blanche in. Full ulti. Oh, big Cyclone stuns people up. Glacial Fissure doesn't find a whole lot of targets in the backline, though. The Slicing Maelstrom from Chammy absolutely chews up Bigatron. And one snap are able to put together a team fight in game number 2. That will be their Drake. That will be their team fight in dominant fashion.
That was such a good engage that even though we saw Blanche there being very indecisive, they still were able to just completely dominate that. Let's take a look at it once more. He comes in, goes for the Cyclone, immediately just gets a huge knock-up on everyone. And then the team fight continues. He's like, let me just take this Drake for a second. Like, wait, okay, never mind, going back in. Goes for the second whatever you call it, the run of the Cyclone there, and then gets another knock-up, and they're able to finish the team fight with basically everyone at 0 health.
Yeah, I mean, check out that full Slicing Maelstrom from Chammy. With the second they go in and just stun everyone up, the team fight's over. And that is going to be what a lot of these team fights are decided by. You have a Kennen on your team, it is about setup. Once we get past the early game, people start having tools to deal with the Kennen. Then we're looking towards this Kai'Sa to be the team fight carry, this Wukong to be the late game carry. But for now, the Kennen show all day, every day.
Yeah, it just feels like the Wukong Kennen combination, along with a little bit of Braum sprinkled in, is what'll be the main source of their kind of wombo combo. And they didn't really go all in on it, right? We still have the Kai'Sa and the Zed to kind of do individual damage here and there. So they're not all in on that combo to take every single team fight. They can kind of do their own thing individually every once in a while. But yeah, that is the main source of their damage. That's what's carrying them at the moment here. By the way, the word I was looking for earlier was cast. I couldn't remember the word for cast. He had to recast his ultimate. Anyway.
Oh, Ragnarok? It doesn't matter. Killer instinct from certs.
That's what I was saying earlier. You actually take more damage when you pop your ult there. So it's like, I don't know if it was actually a good thing that he popped his ult.
If he doesn't pop the ult, he doesn't get off the Glacial Fissure, so...
Yeah, if I just stand there and take it like a man. And then they'll probably die because you took it like a man. Sometimes. Well, maybe. It's probably damned if you do, damned if you don't. So. It's probably bad either way. Anyway.
I'm a big Ragnarok fan. I just like calling, there are ultimates that are fun to say in team fights. Slicing Maelstrom is one of them. Ragnarok is one of them.
True. But the thing is, Olaf is by far the person I've played the most, and I can't count how many times I've died because I pressed the ult, and I was like, oh god, I shouldn't have done that. I took way too much damage.
One of the most important abilities in PC League of Legends is Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Oh god.
So I'm just excited to not have to say that during team fights.
Yeah, in the chaos, like, and here comes the Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a cheeky back from Zed. Too cheeky, in fact. He's just gonna stand there.
Haja! Says our Olaf. Will interrupt the back. Ooh, twice? No, misses the second axe.
They could have actually maybe killed him. That was very...
If he didn't miss that second axe, they get that kill.
Well, he was aiming the axe at the minions, that's why. So, like, there wasn't good communication there, is the moral of that story.
We will have a Baron available soon. I believe the first Drake for the game did indeed go over to one snap. Now,
I'm very curious what the gold levels are right now. It is obviously 8-1 in kills, so it should be pretty substantial.
Pretty dominant. Very aggressive redemption. Easy turret. This will help secure this Baron. We are 20 seconds away. Rift Herald spent in that lane as well. The Baron lane just getting shoved in by one snap. They need to be aware Bigatron are pincering down through the river.
Yeah,
so
obviously we can see that.
Away.
Yeah, we can see that, so they can see that, obviously.
For China and Control, both on the front lines. Glacial Fissure will be spent. Flash Cyclones dirty! And as a result, this team fight's looking real good. The damage needs to come through for this Kai'Sa in the backline. Slicing Maelstrom finds 3 stuns. They will not be able to stop Henry, though, who just dives into the backlines. Will drop into stasis, but I think the Killer Instinct has secured the kill, and indeed it will. Sets able to find it. 12-2 in the kill feed, and the second Drake over to one snap. As this time, the team fights are all going their way.
Yeah, that was very interesting because, like, take a look here. So we have the ult coming in from both the Braum and the Wukong, and it was spicy, like you mentioned, but I didn't think they were getting enough damage in, especially because the cannon wasn't there yet. But I guess they just had too much gold on their opponent. Finally, cannon comes in the very last second. Akali just dives the backline to get the Braum, but she has to die for it, obviously. Then, I don't know, I guess cannon just chase everyone down and they just had too much gold for them, it seems like.
Yeah, that slicing Maelstrom barely found enough ticks to get the stuns. It was very... I don't know which way that team fight goes if the slicing Maelstrom doesn't find the stuns. Probably still one snap because they have the Kai'Sa damage advantage. Full HP Kai'Sa hasn't spent the Killer Instinct yet.
Yeah.
So probably didn't make a huge difference. But
this is what I was mentioning.
Good cannon piloting.
Yeah, this is what I was mentioning earlier, though, is that they didn't go full all in onto the wombo combo, and so they can kind of take messy team fights like that. Whereas we've seen teams before go all in on the wombo combo, and then they just like fall apart when they don't have their ults up, for instance. So yeah, the kind of hedging here has helped them.
It's called ease of execution, right? You have an entire team that you just spend the ults in any order, and good things happen. And, you know, it's a very important thing to have.
Yeah, especially when you're ahead. You could just take a team fight whenever, wherever. Baron, I don't know about this.
One snap at 3,000 HP on that Baron. Have to fall off of it because there is some zoning off of it. One snap continuing to fight that Baron.
They're just holding onto it with a leash.
Slicing Malcolm will go in at the very front of that fight. One snapper zoning around it.
Olaf, look at the fight! Olaf, look at the fight! Who cares if you're dying?
Matsurugi is diving turret. We will not see this Olaf die. I believe one snap of what the fight around the Baron, but I could not tell you. It seems Bigatron are falling behind in that fight around the Baron. One snap should pick it up. And this Olaf is the only player alive for Bigatron.
Yeah,
Oh, we get the one snap replay.
No, I don't think it's a replay. I think they're just taking
You think it's live? You think they just mucked up the take and had to restart it?
Yeah, I don't think that's how our technology works right now.
Ooh, dive on the wall! Does not happen.
That's right.
But a very valiant attempt.
We've seen Vi take those before in the past.
Yeah,
so.
Vi wins those. Blanche wins the smite fight, though. Actually, I don't think Blanche did smite it, so let's get a... Okay, they did. Let's get a replay on this. They burned one during this. I don't know that it was actually Blanche that killed the Drake with smite, though. Or the Baron with smite. Let's see.
I couldn't really tell. You saw
That
he
looked
used
a
it.
little bit like an auto attack, but he did use the smite, so it was.
He used the smite around that time, but it seemed like a bit early. It did seem a bit early. Maybe he's just working with the ping. He's just like calculating 200 IQ calculation.
I mean, if you know that you got the auto attack first, it's very valid, but a little sketchy. Doesn't matter. One snap to get the Baron, and he'll use that to shove in. Henry is getting a little bit frisky, so we'll spend a killer instinct just to confirm that kill.
Zed?
Oh, Henry got the Zed.
Yeah, Zed actually went down.
I don't know how. All the Zed had to do was back away.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to back away from Macaulay sometimes, even as a Zed. So I don't.
You're a Zed.
Yeah,
you teleport.
Yeah, you teleport, and then she just fucking flying kicks you from like forever far away. Sorry for my French, but I've had nightmares about that in the past.
Everyone has nightmares about Akali. Cloud Drake will be coming up. This will be a shift towards it, as indeed one snap will get yet another objective. Stark contrast from game number 1, where Bigatron had a lead and focused it on just ending the game as quickly as possible. One snap say, why take any risks on that front? We'll get all the objectives, we'll take our time, we'll build out towards late game.
By the way, GA picked second here by Wukong. Just throwing that out there. So still not fully thrown away by these teams. It's not the end of the GA era quite yet, as the Dez would like to have you believe. So
yeah, I mean GA is a good late game item still, and I think that's where it should be. Hopefully we're going to start to see a shift towards like tank characters, not buying Olaf. I never want to see a Braum a Braum with GA ever again. If I see a Braum with GA, I don't know. Life has failed. GA should be for squishies that know they're going to die in team fights and want to have a second chance.
The other day I was doing a play-by-play, and I haven't been in League forever, obviously, so I called it AG by accident. And then I just had this idea in my mind that they had the Attorney General equipped. Yeah. So I don't know. That kind of
They've got the Attorney General. We'll see you in court, says Olaf.
And then Riot had to nerf the Attorney General because he's too strong.
Yeah, I mean, he's the highest, most powerful lawyer in the land. Dive will come in. Bigatron trying to defend their turret against one snap with Baron. So far, so good. A 1-for-1 trade as that Zed oversteps. And you take those into a Baron.
Oof, Akali's trying to go in.
Yeah, I think Blanche just got knocked into GA, if I'm not mistaken.
No. That was his clone. So she jumped on the clone for a second, and she's like, oh, well, that's a clone.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Backed off.
Good job. Baron is available. Here's Blanche going in for a team fight to try and make sure they... early slicing Maelstrom. Chami doesn't get anything with a very important teamfight ultimate. They'll back off, grab some HP here. Blanche with the smite and then the honey fruit will be back up to full in time to get back to this Baron fight. But there isn't going to be a cannon. So this is as good a fight as you're going to get if you're Bigatron.
I wonder what the what's his ult cooldown is at the moment, because I'm not really sure what his cooldown items are. But it could be up somewhat soon here, especially because Wukong's just came back up. And I think they were trying to use it in tandem there. So I think it actually might be back up pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll see. Here's Baron. One snap. Not pressured on him. I was hoping, you see the slicing Maelstrom? I was hoping Bigatron would go, okay, well, we have a window here. But they didn't take advantage of that. They back away and just kind of try and play to a late game. And they do have a composition that does have some really good late game threats, but I'm not convinced that it's going to have a higher odds of winning team fights against one snap the later we go. I don't think they really benefit from that.
Yeah, that said, I think they're really trying to just force a team fight here rather than just forcing the Baron. Like you can see right now. Oof.
Control in trouble. Huge slicing Maelstrom. That's back up, by the way. And the game's basically over. Do in trouble. We'll run back behind their turret. There's the dive continuing for Blanche. And unless something disastrous happens here as Henry stays alive for a moment longer, one snap should have everything they need to put this game in the bag.
let's take a look at that once more. Like I was mentioning, they're just waiting for a chance to get the hit on them, get the ambush, and that's exactly what they did. Good old bush tactics from there. Nice cyclone, nice ult coming out from Ken as well, and they just stomp it through and force that game 3.
All the way, baby. One Snap pulling game 2 out of the bag with a series of good team fights. Very, very solid ease of execution from just overlapping really powerful ultimates, and that's all you need.
Yeah,
you know what wasn't nearly as good as I would have liked it to be? Tristana.
You know what? I didn't even notice her this game. I was like, oh yeah.
There was
I mean,
kind of a caster minion. I don't know.
By the way,
you think Tristana was the reason why they lost?
Well,
no.
Okay, anytime in any game or sport when you forget that someone is there, especially like a 5v5 type situation, then there's probably like a good portion of the fault put on them.
True.
Okay, I want to hold up though, because I don't like Tristana wasn't good, but I don't think it was the reason they lost. I think the reason they lost was because of how easy it was for One Snap to execute team fights. And I think that was because of One Snap's positive composition, right? The fact that they had so much engage and so much AoE teamfight damage once they engaged, that was why One Snap won.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the post-play analysis. This game, initially you see the power of Tristana, though. Like, early level 1 skirmishes, she has a bomb. Like, look how much damage they did overall, like, on AoE skill. When they invaded. But then it quickly scaled off. It's just...
Well, it had to do with that first team fight, which I kind of want to take a look at, because that determined the rest of the game. From that moment on, we were 1v1 in the kill count, and then it went from 1v1 to 5v1.
I don't think Bigatron did win that, because the gold for Bigatron went over onto their Lulu, and the gold for One Snap went over onto their Zed.
It's true.
And I think the Zed... I think that means One Snap won it, because then the Zed is able to take these positive trades, and you saw him instantly be able to invest that into bullying into the jungle.
Yeah.
And I think that started... I don't want to make it out like that decided the game, but I think that started an advantage over for Bigatron.
Yeah, but really, One Snap Esports, I really like what they're doing with the wombo combos. Like, last game, they picked Braum. This game, they also picked Braum. But this game, they had the cannon on top of it, right? They had a monkey on top of it. So it's a lot more different. Last time, they had a Vi. This time, it's a lot more wombo combo-y. Like, just 10 CC on a large AoE scale. And then that's exactly what we saw.
I think that team fight is a really good example of that as well, because you can see that it's kind of chaotic. It's not a very well-organized team fight from One Snap. It's not like they actually really had great target calling during that. Everyone's kind of going for everything.
Yeah.
But because
Blanche was even trying to finish off the dragon for a second. He was like, he moved back for the Drake, and then he moved back into the team fight.
Because they have so much good AoE, it's like impossible for them to lose a team fight just because of their draft difference.
Yeah. Look at that. Like, just monkey CCs and Braum ultimate, cannon ultimate. And then Bigatron didn't
look at the left
focus
side.
on, like, for a second.
Bigatron had a bad kind of focusing too. Look at the Olaf in this fight. He jumps. He tries to jump on the backline. Tries to go for like the left side of your screen.
Yeah.
He tries to jump onto the Zed and get some damage on, but he's not able to finish it off. Which means you see he has to turn back around and then go back towards the fight. And then now he's basically done nothing, right? He just dies for nothing. And then you see Kaisa is just popping off in the backline doing a ton of damage. So it's like both sides were a bit sloppy there, but because One Snap had, like you mentioned, TJ, just ridiculous teamfight capabilities, and it was kind of hard to mess it up. They were able to just roll over him.
Olaf cannot change target like in once he active at all. If you decided to go on somebody, you have to chase that person to death. Because the moment you change your target, you kind of waste like your ult effectiveness. The timer already ran out.
Whenever you're watching an Olaf and they're ulting, and there's nobody within arm's reach, they've lost that fight. It's over.
They lost that fight.
Well, you just go back to base at that point and then start over.
Can we watch Blanche's ult there again? Because he flashes.
He flashed while he ulted. Yeah.
Yeah. The timing on Blanche's cyclone here So he zones back control, and then he's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get the second tick of this. I'm going to set up flash in, and it's the wombo combo that sets everything up.
Yeah. Initially with a 3 versus 4, but Cannon just flashed in and then activated ult, and everything settled afterwards. Zed didn't even come to the team fight. It was...
You know, as much as, like... Okay, so the game was pretty much over at this point, right? I feel like the more I look at these, it was kind of just 2 draft wins. If I'm kind of being blunt about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, OneSnap's first game draft was, honestly, in retrospect, pretty poor.
Drafted damage dealer.
yeah. And then this side, they drafted, like, way better, and then Big E-Tron kind of fell on their face as well.
Maybe we should have some damage dealers.
And CC is pretty good as well. The other thing is, like, both teams in consecutive games, obviously they kind of flip back and forth, but they pick Lulu with nothing good to do with Lulu. If that makes any sense. I guess they kind of had the Vi to go with Lulu, but it's like not the greatest.
I think Olaf Vi works with Lulu. If I'm going to criticize the Bigatron draft, it's that they didn't have any AoE zone for a backline, and that was because they didn't have a backline.
I think it's Tristana. Yeah. I think it's Tristana.
Like I'm flaming the Tristana there by implication.
Yeah.
But I think you could have made that work if the Tristana was able to set up more for those team fights and rain in damage over a longer period of time. But there weren't the tools to deny the Tristana or to protect the Tristana in those fights.
True.
Yeah. And then
also, I believe Tristana works a lot better with a heavy front line, like an Alistair or Braum.
Yeah.
Someone who can set up, can put people in place for a long period of time for Tristana to start, rolling that damage.
Because if you get the bomb off, if you get one bomb off, then people are low, and the Tristana resets can start going in. You jump in, you find a kill, you reset. You get another kill, you reset. And then Tristana's terrifying.
Yeah.
But you need to get that first burst of damage out.
Exactly. Now, before we get to more discussions on Tristana, I do want to do a big shout out to our wonderful, wonderful sponsors without whom this tournament would not be possible. Trovo is hosting a variety of tournaments, including this one, Wild Rift Asia Brawl, for League of Legends Wild Rift, with a bunch of prizes for you to claim, including 30,000 Wild Core giveaway throughout this tournament. Without Trovo's generous support, this tournament simply would not exist. So if you're watching the stream right now, weekly Sunday matches and grand final for Wild Rift Asia Brawl will be streamed on Trovo exclusively. So make sure you use the link to go ahead and watch the stream on Trovo right now. Claim your spot on Trovo. Another big shout out to the Wild Rift competitive team. Wild Rift competitive is a central place for all things competitive. No matter you're looking for a team, looking for scrims, looking for players, anything you want for Wild Rift competitive news, use the social links down below in the description to follow Wild Rift competitive, and all your dreams will become reality. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but make sure to go follow Wild Rift competitive.
I don't think you can promise that, Dave. I don't think you're legally allowed to promise that.
True. And most importantly, make sure to go ahead and follow our wonderful casters, TJ as D2 and D2. Their social links is in the chat right now. Make sure to go follow their Twitter for more amazing
Follow me on
casts.
Twitter and all your dreams will become reality.
Yes, and all your dreams regarding Wild Rift news will become reality.
Anything. Any dreams whatsoever.
Make sure to check them out.
This isn't Wonder Woman 1984, guys. Come on.
No, not that wish though. But remember, guys, last but not least, make sure to check out the archive. If you want to look for the archives of the previous videos, check out the Wild Rift Asia Brawl playlist on the AssassinDave YouTube channel. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a short 2-minute break, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Wild Rift Asia Brawl. Group stage week 2 and day 1. Once again, we're in the first match of the day. Bigatron taking on One Snap Esports. It's 1-1 so far. The Giant go against each other. Bigatron with their signature laser focus, as well as One Snap Wombo Combo team fight. So which one is gonna claim the victory today? I mean, the third match ban pick is already starting. Without further ado, let's quickly send the microphone to the caster's desk.
Oh my god, he just handed me a microphone. I don't know what to do with it. My name's TJ, I'm joined by D2. We're continuing to blast along here. It's game 3. It all comes down to this. We're sitting on the Bigatron perspective as they draft themselves into the game. Bigatron got rid of Gragas and Zed in the ban slots. One Snap banned down Oriana and Olaf.
You know, it's funny, TJ. Every single time we do these tournaments, at least in my experience, it seems like Lee Sin's the opinion of Lee Sin, the evaluation of Lee Sin always.
We gotta ban Lee Sin. We gotta ban. Maybe we don't have to ban Lee Sin.
Exactly. And this is what happened earlier when I was casting tournaments as well. Is that he went from ban to play to no one picked him because he just kept losing. It just feels like Lee Sin's efficacy in competitive matches like this versus just on ladder is just so different that it happens every single time. He starts at the top, but then he just gradually falls down. And now they're like, maybe we can just let him have him.
We do get our final comps here. It will be Malphite, Aurelion Sol, Kai'Sa, Lee Sin, and Alistair for One Snap, giving them actually a very meaty team fight. On the opposite side, Bigatron have a little bit less meat, but a little bit more damage. It's going to be Misfortune and Cannon as the big sources of damage with Graves, Braum, and Camille.
These are vastly different team comps from what we've seen before. Like, really different.
Well,
so
one team didn't get all of this CC AoEs this time. Which I think maybe will lead to a more balanced game. I think one of the things we have to worry about is this Alistair Malphite combo. Because if that lands, then I think the team fight may just be over. What I'm worried about for One Snap is they don't have a lot of damage by default. You need the Kai'Sa to kind of get a few kills early in order to start seeing really, really deadly Kai'Sa. Same for Aurelion Sol. They're nothing to sneer at, certainly, but they need a while in the oven. And I feel like Bigatron force fights early.
I feel like One Snap wins on average most team fights, though, because they have a very coordinated attack. All of them are just going to jump on top of you. They just jump on top of you. Every single one of them.
Cannon slicing Maelstrom and then bullet time behind it from the Misfortune.
Right, I know, but not everyone's on the same page as far as their competition goes.
That's what I see. I see Brawl holding the front lines, Cannon coming in with the big ulti, and a Misfortune lining a few people up.
Well, we'll have to see. I just don't think. I think One Snap will get in the back line. We'll have to. Well, oh my god!
There it is. Huge Alistair pulverize. Finds a lot of damage as well, but One Snap can't close any of these kills. Finally, the kills go down, but it's Bigatron finding a pick onto the very back line of One Snap. And this is what I was worrying about just moments ago. One Snap do not have early game damage.
Yeah, for sure. But I just thought that was funny. You've been in that position before, haven't you, TJ? When you saw the Alistair flicker and get the knockup, and he's like, "Just kidding. I'm sorry.
We're like, I've sick opportunity, huge knockup. There's nothing we can do with this. There's no.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I just saw. He's like, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Leave me alone. Bye bye.
For legal reasons, I'm out. I don't think Blanche got away with backing there. I would have been tempted to all in. Blanche did get away with backing, and that means they can now go for a fight. It'll be a messy one. Here comes Tansarui and Jammy down from the top lane. Tansarui very, very low, and Henry will dive in, find the kill. Jammy, in the meantime, finds one of their own, so it's 1-for-1 trade. Blanche Ward hops over the wall and gets to safety.
I wasn't really so sure about the fighting the opposing jungler at level 2 when he's level 3. So
Lee Sin wins those. Lee Sin
does he really
for an early game. Yeah, Lee Sin hurts during early game.
But so does
I know that
Graves.
because I always underestimate it.
As
I'm
much
always
of a
like,
meme.
it's a Lee Sin. I have a level advantage, and then the Lee Sin just auto attacks me to death, and I'm like, oh.
Right. Okay. But Graves, as terrible as he's been in these games amongst competitive teams, he does a lot of damage early. So I'm not so sure. In any case, it worked out okay in the end. Kennen got the kill, but so did the Malphite. So slightly better for Biggitron, but no biggie.
Yeah. We are over on the Biggitron POV. We can take a look at our Camille. Who shall not be named.
What do you mean?
You wanted to name? Go ahead.
It's not that he's not named. He's just overly named.
You are right. There is too much name, actually. It's the opposite.
Kind of went crazy on the birth certificate. He's just like, this letter, this letter.
I hope this is this player's legal name. Oh man, you should see their last name as well. Full name is an absolute mess.
That reminds me of that one Welsh town that people always talk about.
That one Welsh town.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Underneath the turret, one snap will need to be flashing away Blanche into this minion wave as well.
Yeah, he's going to die to the minions.
Oh, that's the kill! Kill will be onto their teammate. Blanche trying to get to safety. Can't make it happen. And a double kill is passed over to Dua on this Misfortune Biggitron. Putting together team fight win after team fight win. Now 6-2 in the kill feed.
I feel like Blanche could have done a little bit better there, not running into the minion wave and kind of staying under turret, because if he tries to take, I guess he was just waiting for his cooldowns, but and he did get his ult, so this is a tough one. It just feels so bad when everyone's so darn low on the other team,
Yeah, I mean there are just limited options. I think the theory of being able to resonating strike ward hop over the top of the nearest player and get behind the turret is probably your best bet. So.
Well, he's going to try to do the best with what he can. I'm really liking Biggitron just kind of putting the fight over to One Snap, because One Snap, this is when they hit their kind of power spike, right? They can go team fights like Alistair's trying to do right now,
Drake
and just kind of jump on them. But
half HP.
Oh, they just take it.
Drake will go over to One Snap. Biggitron, do not fight.
Biggitron's like, we don't do those. We don't do dragons. We do turrets.
And this is what I was talking about earlier. Biggitron have an awareness of what objectives are important. And I think absolutely fighting into a 5-man team fight there would have been a mistake.
Yeah, especially because I think that's exactly what One Snap want to do, right? They just overwhelming numbers and speed. They just jump on you, and then you don't know what hit you, right? And then all of a sudden you're dead. Whereas I think, weirdly enough, even though there's a lot more backline damage coming from Biggitron, I think they want to take smaller skirmishes in this game. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I think it's true.
Well, any team fight where they have Misfortune and Kennen is a winnable fight for One Snap.
You know what I just noticed?
Or sorry, for Biggitron.
Sorry, I'm completely changing the subject, but look how big the first ability button is. I love it. My big fat thumbs love this person's layout. Look how big that first ability is. They are not missing it. They are not missing that first ability.
Sometimes I have trouble seeing the buttons on my iPhone. So I went ahead and I made them as large as possible. I'm 90 years old and I mistyped my name. Hey. So it comes out as blah.
Hey. I'm not sure as an old person, as just a person with fat fingers, and that explains the long name. That explains the big ability.
Where
button.
Did I put my spectacles?
You know how many times I've missed? You should see my button layout, TJ.
You are an old person, though, so this is backing up my point.
I'm not that old. Goodness.
The Rift Herald is being taken up top. We do have our favorite grandpa getting bullied here. This is elder abuse underneath the turret. And the kill will go over. Biggitron yet again, saying you can have the objective. We would like the turret. And this comes with the Rift Herald. Turret passed over to Biggitron up top. Turret did go over to One Snap alongside a kill, but Biggitron take this trade any day of the week.
Right. They don't really go with the Rift Herald, though, so they don't they barely get any value out of it. Maybe a fourth of the damage, a third of the damage on that turret. So that's the one downside. But like you mentioned, getting the turret, getting some map presence is absolutely huge, especially when it's that all important mid turret.
So overall, I think this is a pretty strong start for Bigatron. One snap kind of having to play from behind, but we knew that. And Bigatron, to be fair, as we talked about, do need to wait a while to get this Kaiser online. Do need to wait a while. Once we get to kind of the mid-game team fights, we're going to see Asol and Malphite be the solid impact frontline with a lot of the team's damage, and also this Kaiser be able to provide the team fight answers.
Right. And I think that's kind of part of the reason why One Snap went for that, huge dive and tower take earlier on. It's because they just want any way to get back into the gold parity situation, right? And that will allow their team to really start to take the team fights that they desperately need. Huh. That's weird. Okay, they're gonna get it anyway.
Just getting the turret for free? Yeah, that's a little odd.
Right. Well, they kind of mistimed it, so the minion ended up dying in the end. So anyway.
They're taking the turret for free because the Drake is up on the other side of the map 20 seconds, and I believe Bigatron have decided they're done passing over Drakes.
But why did they give the turret? What is happening in this game?
We'll swap over to the Bigatron POV, and you can see they do have the Misfortune Brawl down there, but this Camille, all the way on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I'm wondering where they were that entire time. Like, what were they doing?
I made the button bigger so that it does more damage.
But I didn't know where I was on the minimap. It's too small. Well, no one's taking Drake. The Camille's just kind of AFK pushing up top.
Bigatron is taking the Drake.
Not now.
I think so. I don't know. It's on the minimap.
Now,
can we swap over to the team 5 perspective?
Yeah. Okay. Well, now they're taking it. Now they're taking it.
One snap will get it uncontested. Bigatron will get it uncontested. One snap seemed to have seeded in order to bully our grandfather up here at the top line.
Aurelian
Lord! Flash hook shot? We're fine.
Aurelian Soul is like, back in my day, I'd be able to catch her, but because of the nerf, I can't anymore. By the way, Aurelian Soul, yet another champion that was nerfed. They took away his movement speed on his third ability, and that's exactly why he wasn't able to get after. It's like, darn it! I swear I was faster earlier.
I was faster in my young age. Everyone's a grandpa now.
Exactly, even a dragon.
I think Aurelian Soul is canonically like 9 billion years old and a dragon that eats star systems. So,
And yet we're talking about last week versus this week. It made all the difference.
I mean, it's the last 5 days that get you.
Yeah, hey, you eat galaxies, but the devs will get you. No one's stronger than the devs.
It'll be a pretty stalled out game for One Snap. I think this is probably, again, playing to their strengths. They get better the longer this goes, so there's no need for them to force anything.
I like their mid game though. That's the thing. That's the downside here. That's the rub, right? Because I feel like once it gets to the late game and super late game, that the misfortune is just going to get out of control, and I feel like it swings back over to Big E-tron, right? So I want One Snap to kind of take control in this mid game. Otherwise, things might fall away from them.
One Snap are still playing really passive, and I'm worried that this Baron is just going to get picked up. It's what I would do if I were on the Bigatron side.
We should mention in this kind of moment of silence here that
vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Both teams are 1-0, and so if they win this, they're almost certainly getting out of groups. So maybe, and it's tied obviously in the series. So this is a pretty important game, all things considered. So maybe it's a little bit of nerves for both these teams.
This game pretty much decides who's safe. It's very hard to go out of the group at this point if you win this game, because you are up 2 wins.
And then things get very sweaty if you do lose this one.
If you do lose, you're back in the mush pit with everyone else.
And the mush doesn't taste very good.
I don't know. I kind of like the mush pit. Kind of into it, Daniel.
Well, you know what Lee Sin is kind of into is a big old GA. Yeah, sorry. Try to segue a little bit here.
Yeah, okay, I wasn't going anywhere, but I was just really into the mush pit. I don't know where it came from. Baron is up. Bigatron are beginning to poke around it. You can see how Bigatron's kind of lack of interest in objectives is starting to hurt them, I think. Oh no. You can see how Bigatron's lack of Wi-Fi is starting to hurt them, I think.
Just a little bit. Because we'll
Talk
go
a
back
bit
to
of Blanche's POV.
Yeah. They both kind of have eyes on the Baron, but no one can really take it, right? Because you can't even really start it, even if you have multiple members on one side and you see the other team on the other side. You can't just really go for it because they just beeline over and then you're in a bad spot because you're taking too much damage from the Baron. So I just don't think that either team can realistically take it.
Okay.
Team fight.
But why has nobody cleared out one snap's single ward for like 20 minutes? Somebody finally killed it, and look what it prompts. One snap now, the entire team has to go over here and investigate it. If you were doing that constantly, if you're properly fighting for vision around this Baron, even if you have no intention of actually taking it, you force one snap to remain on that side of the map, to remain in control of that side of the map. And because Bigatron are just leaving the pit, they're not interested. One snap aren't the slightest bit worried, and instead they're going to engage in this Drake fight.
Unfortunately, both of the Vision Scuttles have gone over to Bigatron, so they can see exactly what One Snap is doing, and there's a team fight brewing right now.
Yeah, right down bottom, hard engage will come through. Drake does get passed over. Bullet time will find damage for Bigatron, but not enough. And from the back of the fight, it's Henry flying forward, slicing Maelstrom. Bigatron find the damage, but is it enough? Blanche in, trying to secure the last few kills while Dua works his magic from the backlines, flashing over the wall, and Bigatron have done it. A huge team fight win for them in the waning moments of this game. They sat in the back seat for so long because they were scaling into that.
Oh my goodness. This is exactly what I was fearing for One Snap. Just the massive damage coming out from Misfortune. And you can see she's untouched. Well, perhaps she was touched, but perhaps she got in and she healed it back up. But this was just very, very sad. Look, Blanchard did almost nothing this entire team fight. All the damage was coming out from the massive AoEs from both sides and from Misfortune. But Leeson did nothing. Literally nothing. He did 0 damage, TJ. I'm just crying on the inside.
Lee Sin, because he's sinning, Daniel.
Oh my goodness, that just felt so bad. We had a front row seat to the nothingness there. Oh my god, we're fighting it.
Team fight breaks out. This is around the Baron. Real rough times for Camille. Dive back in. This is from the Bigatron perspective. Hextech ultimatum into the backlines, and this looks good yet again. A double kill to the graves. Chami will be trying to get out of here alive, and you just can't. There's a Camille on the hunt. Check out this late game Misfortune. Boom. Easy kill.
Yeah, and with the Camille taking the damage from that turret, made it so easy for Misfortune to just walk right in there. Big E-Tron doing big work right now, and they are firmly in control of this game for the first time for either team, really.
Like Big E-Tron. It's an alternate name. There's a guy called E-Tron.
I thought that's what their name is, Big E-Tron.
Really?
Yeah, they have a robot as their thingy.
Oh.
I've been calling him Big E-Tron the entire time.
I'm really excited for E-Tron. Somebody send me a photo of E-Tron.
I mean,
they didn't get Baron, Bigatron. They won that team fight. They were like, sick. Let's keep going.
They did get. I think they got middle inhibitor turret out of that though. So that's one thing.
There's also a Cloud Drake up, and guess what? They're not fighting over that Cloud Drake.
Are you sure?
They got turrets to kill.
I think that's
a
shadow.
The mid inhibitor fell during the last fight, like ages ago.
Are you sure?
The mid inhibitor fell after the Drake fight around Infernal.
Right. I think they just kind of had to go back and lick the runes. I don't think, unless they like really
time to get this Baron.
Probably. Okay. Probably.
They've had time to get this Baron twice.
I can sympathize with the team trying to be a bit.
They have had time to get this Baron 3 times.
TJ, they're trying to be careful, okay, and win this game. Okay, it's hard.
Time to get this
it's
Baron
hard. It's hard.
And they are now backing and not getting the Baron.
Okay, well, if you're making the argument that they can get the Baron while it's fine, okay, listen.
The mini map.
Listen,
You
TJ.
know where they are.
If you're making the argument that they can get the Baron while it's 5v5 right now, then they can probably get it whenever they want. So I
Yeah,
think.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, true. Okay, fair enough. Just patience.
One snap will be grouped up here around the Baron. Properly able to contest it.
Our admins are telling us that there wasn't the Baron fight. We watched it from the other POV.
Replay.
But
nice.
it was a different fight though.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was a different fight, unless I'm crazy.
I think so. This will be the Baron focus down by one snap. If they get this, because Bigatron don't understand what a Baron is, it's gonna happen.
There's no way. What?
Bigatron are allergic to worms.
That could be actually the case. Maybe we misunderstood that they had a problem.
One snap will get the Baron, and now they're going to be able to keep this game going.
Okay, well, thanks to Dave, we know that they took the Elder Dragon up top, which was the Inferno, which is a big deal in team fight. So that maybe, yeah, it seems like Bigatron probably.
But it didn't have to be a one-for-one trade, Daniel.
That's true. They could have taken both.
Taken the Baron at any point in the last 5 minutes.
That's true. Very true. Okay. I'm agreeing with you now. All that wasted time was probably not a good thing. Oh goodness. Okay, well, okay. Let's restart. Let's reset. Okay, so it was really bad that Bigatron didn't take it, but we really need to stress the point now that one snap really has to take this opportunity now, and they're really pushing mid actually, and they get the Brawl.
Here go one snap, finding an early kill. I do have a GA. That's going to be the slicing maelstrom around the side. Our star Camille will dive in. Bullet time from the back of the fight is going well. One snap, struggling here as Bigatron's Camille is able to find a major Team 5 win.
Oh, and we're lagging. Oh goodness, what just happened?
We'll switch perspectives, but it holds up. Bigatron won that team fight decisively.
Yeah, 3 for 2 in favor of Bigatron. And you might be wondering, 3v2, not maybe such a big deal, but the fact that they only had to hold off the Baron push is the reason why.
Because they had the Baron, it's just a reset. It's like they're not going to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah, that said, though, they have team fight superiority for the rest of the game because of the fact that they got the Elder Dragon. Let's just forget what happened during that huge window of time when they could have got the Dragon.
Game's got 20 minutes, Daniel.
Just let it go. Let it go. Some things you just gotta let go. Okay?
This is gonna be like a 25-minute game. It's inexcusable. Deep breath.
Well,
it's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
Here comes Baron.
It is kind of sad to see.
Question the hour: is Bigatron going to contest this Baron? It's about a minute out.
Well, we're looking at one snap and they're pushing, so I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, they're going to get this mid turret, and then they can just reset for the Baron. That's what they ought to do, because the mid lane is the wave that's perennially pushing because of the super minions. I do actually like this split laning from the Camille. That's actually a very good call.
Right, and it's forcing the entire one snap team to go to that bottom lane. And we'll see.
We did miss a team fight. I'm trying to piece this together.
No, not really. I think they just chased the Camille away.
Baron's down. I can't make anything out. Our quality is rubbish.
Right. I don't know. So the viewers probably have a pretty good quality, but we're looking at a very blurry screen right now, so it's hard to tell what's going on.
Baron is up. I believe we went backwards in time. Oh no, it's unclear. Baron is up. I think we are caught back up to live. No other kills have happened. It's still 8-14, sitting on one snap. Okay. So they dealt with the split push. Now they're going to go for the Baron. And to answer my question, Bigatron will not be contesting the Baron. Here comes Henry. A little bit too late. He's CC chained. He's gone.
Oh my goodness, Camille's pushing top though.
Watch the split lane though. Yes, that Camille is in the side lane, pushing it as hard as they can. Here comes Harry. Baron will go over to one snap. Can they deal with the backdoor? They need to win this fight, and fast Blanche just backs Baron empowered back. Will get him back to base in time to stop the Nexus from falling, but it is another inhibitor.
But they're dying because they're fighting
in trouble.
Outnumbered. They're fighting outnumbered though.
Hextech ultimatum. Blanche doesn't win this. Doesn't win this
Oh
every
no.
day.
Oh no!
Blanche barely survives. Mid lane team fight does stabilize for one snap. The Kai'Sa pulls out the late game damage and gets a triple kill to end the fight. So one snap win in mid by the skin of their teeth, and Blanche stays alive, flashes the challenger because he knows he's that good. One snap have the Baron, and they may be able to end, but honestly, I think we're going 25 minutes.
I think so too. Just to recap what happened there. So we had the Camille, split pushing, trying to end the game that way. So Aurelion still had to go back and clear the wave. The Lee Sin went back as well, but they were winning the team fight before they went back. They obviously took the Baron. But because they went back, the 4v4 winning team fight turned into a 3v4 with the Malphites and the Alistair going down. But then the Aurelion Soul jumped back in. Oh my god.
They're just going. One snap. This is the right call. They have Baron now. They won't in a moment. So it's a deep dive. Blanche in the Hextech ultimatum. Just focuses the Nexus. One snapper just going for the Nexus. They ignore the team fight. And they get the game. One snap. Pull back the game. Because Bigatron do not know what a Baron is. Back over to you, Daniel.
Who needs Baron? Oh, actually, they actually did need Barons. Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
Yes!
Wow. What a game. What a game. What a comeback.
I can't believe they came back and won that. That is ridiculous.
They just had to take the Baron.
Well, that was close. That was super close. Sorry for the disconnect, by the way. There's some technical issues from one side of the stream. So we're now able to see the full two-sided perspectives for a while. Go ahead.
I don't want to... First of all, Dave, you did an excellent job stabilizing. I know everything was breaking and you were keeping it going. But I don't want it to like overshadow. One snap made the right call at every single decision point there. The Kai'Sa being able to stabilize the fight in mid is huge. I wish we had a spectator mode so we could have seen it. But that was the late game Kai'Sa that they got because they stalled out the game for so long, and that was absolutely a benefit of their good decision making. Then they're sitting there, they have the Baron, and they go for this risky mid dive because their odds of winning are never going to get better. They need to push whilst they have the Baron, and that is also the right call. Then they know, oh, we don't win this 5v5 team fight around Baron, or even with the Baron, so we need to just focus the Nexus and not even try and fight. That is also the right call. One Snap did everything right, and they deserve credit for that. But also, what did Bigatron do for 20 minutes of this game? Because 13 minutes in, they are already dominantly ahead, and then they just do nothing for the rest of it.
Yeah,
I think there was a few incidents that kind of make them hesitant. Like, for example, this team fight, even though they kind of clean up, not kind of clean up, they decisively clean up their opposition here, but the jungler was dead. And then look at how low Camille was. So they couldn't do Baron here. They have to wait for the jungler to come back. But after if you come back to an even 5-on-5, what happens is I do feel like Bigatron was a little afraid of the team fight potential from One Snap. Because
they have a Kai'Sa who just lost a team fight. Your odds of getting a good team fight are never going to be better than they are right now.
Yeah.
Because you have Cannon, you have Misfortune, you're in the mid game, you have a Brawl. Like, this is the best time for Bigatron to win a team fight.
Yeah.
And they have all these waves pushed. This is also what's upsetting me. They have all these waves pushed, so they know where the members of One Snap are, because they can see them on the map. They're having to defend their turrets. If they just go for Baron at this map state, they 100% get the Baron like half HP before One Snap can even be there, and that's if One Snap instantly know what's going on and turn for it.
Like I
think one thing that I think one thing that a lot of teams need to learn, especially ones that are kind of trying to make the jump up to the top, is understanding objective percentages. about what's going to cause you to win, because a lot of teams see situations like that. For instance, Biggie right? They're thinking, if we try to force a situation and try to go for the Baron, we could lose the game right now, right? But they don't realize that even though there's a risk in doing that, there's a larger risk in letting the other team come back into the game. And so if you just look at percentage-wise, what's the greatest chance of you winning the game, you're much better off just doing, like you said, just taking the Baron and taking the risk, the short-term risk, so that you can actually have a better chance of winning the game. They forget that they're actually lowering their chances of winning by quote-unquote playing it safe, because there's actually inherent risk by going for the quote-unquote safe play.
And I think that is also that is a very important point, but also one snap just get 2 Barons here for free. Bigatron don't even contest it. And one snap are the team with an inhibitor down. So
yeah. I mean, like Malay, they're gonna have minion superiority, minion wave superiority. I agree with what you were saying regarding what they should have done. They should have done Baron for a while. And then the point here is not to do Baron, but use Baron as a bait. Like what I would have done if I was Bigatron is obviously have like one or 2 people, like probably Cannon just be the bait around this bush, like have a sweeper and just be the bait. And the 3 people, because Misfortune can even be on up the hill on the cliff. And this 2, Braum as well as Brain Fart. What's the hero called, jungler?
The Graves.
Graves, Scott! Brain Fart. Okay, so big Brain Fart over there. Graves can both dash over the wall. So they could have faked doing the Baron. Because at this point, they're really far ahead. But they should have done it. Like, I
think we're all in agreement. I think we're all in agreement that they just should have done something.
I want to highlight something else in this game state. If they put a teleport on this Camille and do Baron with the Camille split pushing in lane, so the Camille just sends down this lane, and they do Baron. The Camille can teleport to the team fight if they start it, and otherwise, we'll just demand that somebody stay here in lane. They win the game. There's no way
They should 100% pressure this Baron. Like, I don't understand why they didn't. They were too.
And not only did they force someone back, she probably forces specifically Malphite back, because he's the only one who like just doesn't die to her, right? And Malphite's such a huge part of one Snap's team fight that they would have just won going away, right? And
Could you skip to these Baron takes? Can we see the map state here for Bigatron? Because I do not understand why Bigatron weren't present at either of these Baron takes.
Okay, so the first Baron, they just wanted the Elder. And then the thing, I mean, over here, I think it was okay, because they already have map, like, pressure.
Okay, getting the Elder is a fair trade. It's a little, like, again, they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be in a 1-for-1 trade situation.
Yeah, they shouldn't be in this situation. But, like, getting Elder... hold on, we'll have a little bit disconnect from our Discord here, and we are back. Let me go ahead and turn on the camera. Yeah, like, they shouldn't be in this situation where they need to one-on-one trade, like, but I think the trade was fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The second take was even more questionable, though.
Like, they were there.
So
this team fight was really weird.
It's all over the place. Like, both teams. Okay, so one thing that I want to let the viewers know, like, hindsight is 20/20. Like, it's easier for us to have the God view to see what's happening.
Yes.
But then for players, they're under tremendous amount of pressure. You know, like, they're playing, and the game is really intensive, right? So they have to, like, it's really hard to think at this point. It's really come down to your daily practice, your scrims, what you do at this emergent, like this kind of situations, this kind of emergencies, right? Like, there has to be muscle memory, and obviously. We can say now that they could have made better decisions, but overall, I just want to point out that the players were under tremendous amount of pressure. So we do have to give them credit for obviously, still giving us a really, really good show.
Right. Well, this is where we have to give one Snap credit, right? Because they were under so much pressure. They were being pushed back the entire game. They take the first Baron, they kind of give it to them, and then they go for it was a really tricky situation on the second Baron, if we can skip to that, right?
Yeah.
Because the second Baron was very, very tricky, because there was actually some pressure coming to them from Biggatron in the situation, right? They had the Camille split pushing from Biggatron, and they're trying to take the fight at the same time. Biggatron played that pretty poorly as well. They kind of had people poking in. The Kennen died for nothing, and they weren't really poking properly. But so the Camille's pushing, right? And then that means that the Aurelion Soul has to go back, because there's a legitimate threat to actually kill the Nexus. And then after they take the Baron, which they did, which one side did a good job of actually getting the last smite on. The Lee Sin's actually able to go back and help that fight. So here, Biggie again, poor execution. Kennen goes down. They're kind of trying to poke, but every time they poke, they get jumped on and take a lot of damage. Here comes the ult in from the Braum. Very good smite here. And now we have One Snap taking a pretty good team fight, but they don't really realize that the Lee Sin's going back. I'm not sure Lee Sin had to go back because the Aurelion Soul was already there, but obviously the threat of taking the Nexus was there, and Aurelion Soul goes to clear the wave and goes back to the team fight. As you can see in the middle of the map there, the middle of the mini map, the team fight started going south once Lee Sin went back because you had only one damage dealer, right? You only had the Malphite, the Alistair, and the Kai'Sa trying to fight there. So Aurelion Soul goes back. They've managed to salvage that. Lee Sin barely gets out of this team fight, and then they're able to push mid all the way to the Nexus because they feel like that's their last chance. And I completely agree with them because they're never going to get a better chance than that. Just a crazy last set of circumstances.
One Snap played it right, and I also want to emphasize the reason I'm losing my mind here isn't because Bigatron are trash and bad. It's because they're good. It's because Bigatron are damn good, because we watched them win all these games with all these sick strats and these clever team fights, and this game was just
and they were ahead too. They were ahead this game too.
I love that characteristic.
So well.
Yeah.
That's why I'm losing my mind. It's because Bigatron are such a good team that this is out of character, and I think, like Dave was getting at, this is, nerves. This is, okay, well, this decides who's 100% getting out of our group. This decides the series. It was game 3. Yeah. Like, I think this is why you start seeing this kind of mistake. But it's not what I expect from a team as good as Bigatron.
Yeah, Can we go to the final push as well? Yeah. Because I think this is a really important teaching moment for a lot of people playing on ladder. You're never going to get a better chance to win the game than right here if you're One Snap, because you're down all the Elder Dragon, you're down a lot of buffs, you're still probably down gold, right? And with the minions pushing, with the chaos going on right now, this is your best chance. It seems risky, but I mean, looking at the situation, they probably
percentage.
This is like, just looking at it before they go in, it looks like a 50-50 to me, right? Would you agree, TJ? Like, just going into it's like, it seems risky, but it feels like a 50-50. Players are coming from the other side, right? In retrospect, it was probably more like a 60-40, 70-30 because of how many attacks they got in the Nexus. But a lot of teams will see this and they'll be like, oh, no, I can't go in. And then they don't realize by not going in, they're giving themselves like a 20% chance to win the game going the long way.
It was,
the thing is,
for
the damage
me,
here from Bigatron all died. Go ahead.
The second I realized that One Snap were focusing the Nexus, I knew they had it, because that is understanding the win condition. I don't think One Snap win the team fight if they go for a full-on team fight.
Especially under Nexus.
Yeah, Elder Dragon.
So,
I still want to point out something before we're cutting the break here regarding the Elder Dragon. The Canon Henry should never be here. So, I mean, he should, but shouldn't be in the person in the front. Like, the team fight potential from One Snap is too strong. Like, with Alistair, even though, like, look at this ultimate, and Alistair's engage happening at the same time, right? Ultimate from the Aurelion Soul. So, he shouldn't be here. The person that should be here is Brawl. And also, I don't know why Bigatron didn't take the team fight here. They should have just five-man fight them, because they have Elder Dragon. Yeah. The whole point of trading that one-on-one in the previous Dragon fight, I mean, Dragon and then Baron trade, now they have Elder. Now they have team fight superiority. Right? The Elder makes them so much stronger, yet you still have a split pushing going on. Basically, they play like they don't have the Elder. They have the Baron. They play like they're the other way around.
Here's what I don't think Bigatron knew. I don't think Bigatron knew that One Snap were on the Baron. Because you see Henry come around that corner. I think Henry just didn't expect there to be someone there. See the misfortune.
No, they have the vision. They have the rift scuttle vision. They had the rift scuttle vision. I think Henry was just paranoid about it getting just rushed down. And so he just kind of ran in there. He's like, oh god, it's going to get rushed down, right? But this is just
misfortune in mid if they have vision.
Exactly. This is just bad communication. Why the heck is misfortune mid here? They should be really jumping on the bear at the same time. And the thing is, it's also it's bad on Henry and it's bad on the Kennen and it's bad on Misfortune as well, because Henry's kind of being too paranoid and jumping in, right? Worst case scenario for Henry, he should just wait. And worst case scenario, they take the bear and you win team fight anyway, right? And if you're Misfortune, why the heck aren't you there? So it's just kind of bad communication at the end of the game there.
I want to emphasize, because I know we've just spent like 6 minutes ripping this game apart. I spent longer than that losing my mind. The reason this game is decided by the decision making, is decided by the shot calling, is because both these teams are really good. The fact that both these teams are capable of sick team fights, that both these teams are capable of understanding their win conditions across the map and rotating well, that's what means the game comes down to who makes the right call when and where. Yeah. And we should celebrate even Bigatron in losing a game like that. They did play really well in the series, and they are a lot of really good players. I don't want this to turn into, oh, Bigatron are terrible, because they are very much not. They are a very good team.
And remember, don't count them out yet. Just because they lost this game, they're still in lead compared to the two other teams that are going to fight in the group, first group, right? Like,
yes.
Next week, we still have one more round of the group stage. And then Bigatron still have one more chance. If they take that win, they will still be proceeding to the playoffs. So it all comes down to next week now. Now, this week is really, really... Now, the next match is going to be the most important match, because the loser will almost certainly not have the chance to proceed. You know, and it's going to be SoulofSoy versus Omega Esports. I cannot wait to show you guys that match. If you're a fan of either teams, stay tuned, get your popcorn, get your soda, share the stream with your friends, because we're going to go ahead and take a short break right here for about 5 minutes. Before we cut into the break, I just want to do a big shout out to the sponsor of the Wild Rift Asia Brawl. Wild Rift Asia Brawl is sponsored by Trovo.live. They're hosting a variety of tournaments, events for League of Legends Wild Rift, with a bunch of prizes for you to claim, including 30,000 Wild Core giveaway throughout this tournament, starting the playoff 2 weeks from now. Without Trovo's generous support, this tournament simply would not be possible. So if you're watching the stream right now, make sure to use the link to head to Trovo.live, because the weekly Sunday matches starting playoff and the grand finals will be streamed exclusively on Trovo. So if you want to follow all your favorite teams to the end, to the grand finals of the Wild Rift, the biggest community event since Wild Rift launch, make sure to head to Trovo.live. And then big shout out to our wonderful casters, TJ and D2. Yeah, make sure to go follow them with the social links in the chat right now to follow a more amazing news for Wild Rift, for anything competitive they can cast. And a big shout out to Wild Rift Competitive, obviously. The Wild Rift Competitive team is a central place for all things competitive. They host weekly tournaments and events for the community. They also provide an easy way to find a scrimmage and recruit for your team. So make sure to follow them with the social media links in description. With that, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a short 5-minute break. And we'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the 2021 World Rift Asia Brawl, brought to you by Trovo.live. We're now in the group stage, Week 2, and this is Week 2, Day 1, Game 2. Omega Esports taking on Soul of Soy. Very, very exciting matches. I know a lot of teams cannot wait, for the results of this match. Me neither. Before we get started, I want to do a big shout out to our sponsor, Trovo.live, without whom this tournament would not be possible. Make sure to use the link in the chat to follow us on Trovo. With that, the first game ban pick between Soul of Soy and their opposition Omega is already underway. In fact, the game is already starting. So I'm going to quickly cut into the caster's desk.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. Unfortunately, we have TJ using the little boys' room for the moment, so it's going to be a bit of a solo cast as we take a look at both of these teams. We kind of sped right through the next game. The last series went a bit too long, particularly our analysis of the situation and the fact that the Baron was never taken, as TJ and I are kind of harping on it constantly. But taking a look at these compositions at the moment, we're on the POV of Omega Esports and Jin here over in this top lane. His support is roaming the map in mid, and nothing really going on. No crazy invades of either side here. TJ, are you joining me, or was that not?
Sorry, I had to take a walk because of the Baron flies.
I already talked about it. But this is nothing's crazy has gone on. It was just the game started because they were mad at us for taking too long talking about the last game.
Understandable.
All right. Well, the bans for this game were Soul of Soy banned Misfortune and Oriana, and Omega Esports banned Kennen and Aurelian Soul.
Oh, good engage.
Jin.
Headbutt pulverized. Time Lapse is in trouble. We'll kite back and find the root. That's actually a huge root. Very low HP on the Kaisen. First blood will be passed over to Impressive as they lock down 2 kills in this dragon lane.
That's very unfortunate timing for a Soul of Soy there, trying to jump in.
Really good shot from Time Lapse.
Yeah, very, very well done by him. But it's kind of they tried to jump on him at the exact moment that his team was rotating around to get on the backside and get that flank. So again, nice shot, nice route there to allow for the basically securing of the kill. But it's just unfortunate timing slash not
good,
really
good.
big. Yeah, not paying attention to the map.
I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I would frame that actually as Omega Esports being really well set up for that. When we saw this team previously, Tamelapse and Impressive were the 2 players who really stood out. Impressive, of course, the jungler for Omega Esports. He had a Lee Sin game where he just single-handedly got 16 kills.
Right. And did which team was the one that got one victory? That was Omega, I believe,
that was
right?
Soul of Soy.
Oh, that was Soul of Soy. Okay.
Sorry, Omega.
Stop confusing me.
Omega got a round off of Bigatron Infinity,
Mm-hmm.
but did lose the series 2-1.
By the way, Lee Sin died. Huh.
And so did Graves.
That's unfortunate. There's a bit of a gank in bottom lane. Unfortunately, our Greg isn't looking at it.
Down bottom, but Graves has other things to worry about. He got fruit to eat.
Of course. In any case, I don't know if I should wait until between games to say this, but if Soul of Soy wins this, then 1 snap are through to the next round, and Omega's out. Mm-hmm. So if Omega loses this, they're just out. If Omega wins, then it gets really messy. So those are the stakes here.
Yeah. Omega Esports kind of would ruin the standings of the group, make things all kinds of dangerous.
If they do win, there could be 3-2. There could be a 3-way 2-1. There could be a 3-way 1-2 if Omega does win this match. So the person liking chaos, I want that to happen. Yeah.
If Omega win, though, Soul of Soy are almost 100% out. So.
Right. Almost 100%, but yeah.
We
Exactly.
have another jungle fight happening around that dragon line. This time again, impressive will fall. A rough time in the jungle as the Lee Sin dies yet again. Impressive will push further forward. Very good blocking by F2Y. The Gragas Cask will shut down Impressive's Graves. And F2Y, after getting that kill, kites back playing support for their Kaisa. Very well played.
I can't believe they got out of the unscathed. Really well. Man, maybe unscathed was a little bit much, but
that was goofy.
The POV side, the Gragas was unscathed a little bit.
Clique will dive in and instantly get ruined. So Soul of Soy are now down 2 different players.
He almost got that kill though. I can understand the greed. I can understand the greed when he tried to drop it. Like they're so low, get him. And I think that the Lulu's name is definitely conveying my feelings right now.
I mean, the problem is your Lee Sin and your team wants to grab this Drake. If he doesn't die, they have the Drake.
For sure.
Body slam set up. Oh, it's red. Ward now in this push. The body slam will not come out, so instead, Soul of Soy will turn themselves towards this Drake. There is vision on it, and we'll see if Omega Esports contest. They certainly are pushing for it. Drake will be picked up successfully by Soul of Soy. F2Y dropped to half HP. Very well played by Stronger. Really good zoning on this fight. Around the side, it's damage onto Impressive, though, who will be the first player to fall. 1-for-1 trading.
Ooh,
and now the curtain call comes through. Double kill for the back of the fight. Huge plays coming out from this Jin. And all the while, guess what Arise is up to? He's tapping on that turret.
Wait. I know that Zed's pretty reasonable in the opposite lane, but why wasn't the Singe there? Okay, anyway, we'll take a look at this fight once more. Really kind of messy. The Drake was given away mostly for free. Singe kind of trying to go in the back line there, but he gets roughed up real bad. Then the Gragas tries to get away, takes a big shot there, and obviously the ult is able to finish him off in the end. But this is
This is one of the best Wild Rift Jins I've seen.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job for sure.
Really impressed with this Jin.
I don't even know where this game is supposed to go from here, though. It's just kind of too chaotic for my liking. Or actually, no, I do like it. I take it back. I do like the chaos here, but it's just kind of hilarious.
And we're already fighting over objectives, so
yeah, I appreciate it.
Fake improvement. TJ will not have an aneurysm this game.
I don't know. Things were pretty fast in the last series until game number 3.
Yeah,
so
we go the whole while.
Things can turn on a dime here, especially when one team's up for elimination in game number 3 potentially.
There is a Rift Herald on the map. Neither team feels quite comfortable enough in their control to take it, and that is the correct call.
Yeah, Rift Herald isn't really that big of an objective to go for. It's nice if you can get it because oftentimes it leads to a turret, but it's not 100% guaranteed. So if you don't think you can take it safely, then you're fine. Just kind of laying off it for a bit.
Poke over the wall. Good CC. 070. Will be zoning in. That frontline Alistair is really scary. You can see Tamerlapse just chipping away at the meantime, though. The longer this fight goes, the better for him. Oh, 07 into the front lines. That engage hits the Braum, though. Stronger just takes those hits. And thus, nothing comes of it. Rift Herald will be picked up successfully by Omega Esports as they turn their attention towards this very, very low mid-turret.
Okay, we're starting to see the strategy here for Omega Esports. They just have the Zed split pushing, and potentially we have a 1-3-1 situation with Singe going the opposite direction. And then there's just a lot of poke from the Zed just being super annoying. And if there's ever a potential engage, we have big old Braum to get in the way and just say no, no, no. So it's basically a 1-3-1 with a lot of poke from the 3, and Braum just kind of shutting down any sort of re-engage onto them.
That may be the worst Rift Herald spawn I've ever seen. I don't know, I'm angry today, but they summoned that Rift Herald on top of a minion wave, shot the turret because it was 1 HP, and then left.
Off you go.
And the leaving was right. They weren't going to get anything more out of that. But they did not need to summon the Rift Herald there because a minion wave was coming, and all they needed was some to take. They could have had the Brawl walk under the turret and killed it.
These sass is just coming out today from TJ.
Tired, I don't know. I'll drink some tea. I promise to be good.
Where you drink the tea and then spill some tea? Is that what's going on right now?
I like it. I'm glad you're down with the kids.
All right. Well, we're gonna switch perspectives here. Solo Soy, not really feeling too good about this. They're really not handling this 1-3-1 very well, and I feel like they just need to just jump on them. As that the counter or the counter play, I should say, to 1-3-1 is just you just jump them, right? Or you try to force a team fight where you have all 5 there, and you say, "Stop doing that! Stop this stupid blitz pushing. We're gonna kill you now."
Oh yeah, gank the Zed. I don't get that.
Yeah, this is not how you do that.
I'm being toxic again, aren't I? Arise will turn this fight into the bush. No HP on Cleek. Good Gragas barrel will make that difficult. Smart. Lose their player up top as Arise does go down. In the meantime, though, Drake was grabbed across the map.
Yeah, that was way too difficult. That was way too difficult for Solosoy to try to take out the Zed there. It took 2 players, nearly a kill, had to burn a stasis, and it just and then they so much opportunity cost lost in time there as the opposing side was able to take a Drake and I think maybe a turret as well.
Yeah, Omega got a Drake, got a turret, and it is not incorrect. Like you were saying, you want to take this. A split push that is working so well for Omega, and Soul of Soy want to just force a team fight, because that is where their comp wins. The place you should be doing that is around the Baron or the Drake. If you start fighting either the Baron or the Drake, the other team has to respond to you, or try and get turrets in the side lanes, and with the current map state, the most they could get is an inner turret, a tier 2 turret. So you take that trade. They get a turret, you get the Baron, any day of the week.
Right.
So
what you don't do is what they just did. Yeah.
Chasing the split lane, particularly when the split lane is Zed, who can just walk away real fast, means that they get objectives on the map uncontested.
Exactly. It just seems like low-hanging fruit to go for them, but that low-hanging fruit suddenly just jumps into the sky randomly, and you can't reach it anymore. What if you try to reach for it? So it's not a good thing to go for. If
you can really land good CC, then this works really well if you just blow up the Zed. But if the Zed's taken up your time, it doesn't even really matter if they eventually kill Arise, because his job isn't really to get kills, isn't really to be dominant. It's just to stay in that lane and be a nuisance. That's why I actually really like what F2Y's just done. They just went back and got a teleport, and now they can take this fight, stay in lane versus Arise, and teleport into team fights that the rest of the team starts.
Yeah, I think what F2Y is doing is perfectly fine. I'm just wondering about the play from the Lee Sin here. He's always just pressuring over to the Zed. I don't think that's the right call.
TP
Here comes a teleport. So.
Baron fight. Baron about a quarter HP down. Full engage. Alistair will start things off. Good Gragas cask. Flash will be burned on that Brawl as they try to get to the front of the fight. You can see this Sin just laying down so much damage, but they will get polymorphed and I think dropped low. Slain indeed by the Kaisov Killer Instinct. He will have a curtain call from the back of the fight though. Jin able to get at least one, and Arise will dive in, shutting down an Alistair round the side. Arise for big damage here, but just being burned down by the Kaiser. Moon's up for 2 kills in the fight. They don't quite close it. Oof. I don't believe it. That Zed survives. Arise stays up.
Yeah, it was a 2-for-1 in favor of Big E-Tron, but it seemed like the Kaiser was doing so much damage and could have potentially clutched that fight out. You saw at the very start of that fight, as the teleport was going through, Zed put all of his damage, even popping the ult, onto the Gragas and make sure that he had, an influence on the fight at the very start of it. That meant that Gragas couldn't really go too deep and had to back off for a moment there, even getting taken out by the Jin there in the end. But I'm just still surprised that the Kaisa didn't try to go for it. It was so tempting, and she's so buff right now.
I think that was really good evidence of what we've been calling for, though. If Soul of Soy just force the team fights around the objectives, they're in with a shot. They win those. You can see what a Kaisa does in a team fight, particularly after a steady early game, which is absolutely what's happened.
Yeah, and she even has the Lulu to help her out as well, so it's kind of hard to jump on her. We've seen the Lulu-Kaisa combination be devastating before.
Drake is up. Here are Omega's perspective as they set up for it. Time-elapse, your Jhin player on screen right now. Setting up at the very, very back of this fight. Doesn't want to be under threat, so positioning really safely, but really well. And you can see the reward. Knocks that into GA from the Lee Sin. Will the follow-up? Curtain call at range. Mountain Drake does go over to Omega. The curtain call finds so much damage. Lee Sin will fall for a second time as Rise charges forward and secures the kills. F2Y will follow. And Munza, the star Kai'Sa, cannot do anything the second time around.
You know, we've seen a lot of ups and downs from our POV here. When we for instance, we saw a very terrible Lee Sin situation earlier, but this was just godlike from this Jhin. He simply cannot miss. Once he pops the ult, just members just go down. Like everything just falls before him when he goes for that.
Really, really good positioning from Time-elapse as well.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes there's a feeling when you're playing, especially something like a Jhin, you're like, wow, I'm just not doing anything during this fight. I'm just AFK at the back of the fight. I need to be contributing more. And I think that anxiety gets a lot of ADC players killed. Time-elapse knows how to wait out the early burst damage in the fight, stay safe, not take any risks, until all of the engage, the Lee Sin, the Alistar has been committed, and there's nothing that can threaten him. And that's when Time-elapse comes out of hiding and starts brawling out with the auto attacks, saving the ultimate to close things down.
Yeah, and we kind of speculated that Solo Soy had a better teamfight comp, but they can't just force anything, right? Omega Esports has a pretty decent comp themselves. It's just not dominating. And you saw that there, right? The Jhin was still able to be a really good force in the team fight by himself.
Okay, deep dive in yet again. This is going to be 070, the Alistar, very, very low, but this time Time-elapse is under threat. Good pickup, 070 finally falls. Nunza so far forward will be Wild Growth, that's keeping the Kai'Sa alive, but the deep backline dive from Arise, followed by the damage. Curtain call will be deployed, and Time-elapse and Co have won another team fight.
Can they finish the game right here is the question. They're really going for it. The inhibitor is going to fall, and I believe that's it, TJ.
Yep. A very, very good game from Omega Esports as they are able to turn things round. Series of very smart objective engagements and good play from the backline Jhin.
Well played indeed. There are a couple of points I want to point out for Solo Soy that they kind of fell apart there, but again, Omega.
Yeah.
Time-elapse. He is, to quote the name of his teammates, that was impressive and smart. Although they're all smart, I guess. I don't know. Why are they smart?
I think it's a team tag, but not the team tag they're currently flying under. That was really good. I'm really impressed by that Jhin. I have to say.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of. I totally agree. The Jhin played out of his mind. On top of it, Gragas is having a lot of problems trying to engage onto the Jhin. Like it seems like he was trying to. But it's like he's crossing the street, but also not crossing the street. Like there's a little room. Should I go? Should I not go? He can't make up his mind.
Yeah. I think a lot of that comes down to how well Stronger plays. You can see him, especially in this team fight you're showing on replay right there.
Yeah.
Just being glued to the Jhin. That Braum is fulfilling his role as a support. Anytime someone gets close, they are stopped. And that's where you get value from something like a Zed, which can get around those tanks who are dedicated to defending. If you have an Akali, a Zed, then you find those backline kills.
Oh, we found out the answer to the smart. It's it's their major sponsor. Okay. One thing I want to talk about with Solo Soy is I felt like the major reason why they lost those latter game team fights was their indecisiveness, right? We saw Alistar take so much damage because he was like, am I in, am I out, I'm not sure. And then the Wild Growth goes on the Kai'Sa, and she's like, am I in, am I out, I'm taking a lot of damage. And then I felt like Omega was just way more decisive with what they're trying to do in team fights. And anytime someone stepped forward, they jumped on that person, right? It was just massive damage coming out from the Jhin, from the Zed, and they were able to drop them pretty quickly. Whereas Solo Soy were like, I don't know, are we in the same fight, are we out? And as the team that we
looking like Daniel trying to cross the street in Vietnam.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, I'm just going to move on. So, as the team that we kind of indicated was the better 5v5 team fight team, they really needed to go for their opportunities when they had them, instead of being a little bit wishy-washy.
Yeah, like I want to point out, like, look, Gragas was just a little bit undecisive. He was slowed by the Singed, and then
Yeah,
over
this is
here,
awkward.
like I don't know why you wouldn't ult this area, like because what I was seeing is there you could have a straight shot to ult this to disrupt the team fight position. A lot of time, Gragas ultimate can just be casted in the middle of the team fight just to break the enemy's team formation, right? Wherever they are, I'm going to make sure that you guys are trying to fight like a team. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. And then when the marksman, when you're reforming the team, or when a marksman deal damage because you got knocked back, that's when you flash in with your W, with your skill 2, skill 3 combo and one shot the marksman. That's a lot, but over here, like, look, he was trying to do damage, but he's also kind of scared. So when he jumps out right here, he could have waited and used ult to cancel the Jinx ult, but that wasn't happening, right? You know, he just got killed. So
I feel like there's a bit of anti-synergy with this comp as well, right? Because in theory, you want to see the Alistar jump in, get the knock-up, right? Get the additional knock-up from the Wild Growth, from the Lulu. But if you do that, and then you have the Gragas ult, and then he pushes everyone away, Lee Sin's pushing people away, I just feel like half the team wants everyone in one central location for a wombo combo, and half the team wants to create chaos and have individual fights all over the place. It feels like there's a bit of anti synergy here.
The thing is, the Gragas didn't have to use all when Alistar engaged. He could have followed up with 2-3. Another thing is that Alistar initiation in this game was not very satisfying. Not satisfying or eventful, right? Because he finds some engages onto Braum, which is not a person you want to cause, you want to really spend all your skills on, especially mid to late game team fights. You want to use that skirmish, use that crucial abilities that you have once every like 15 seconds to be used on the enemy jungler, especially early game dragon fights, to be used on the enemy backline in the mid to late game team fights. And that's not what happened. You can see that from this team fight right here. Alistar, once again, he used the initiation onto Braum. You know, like that's the only skill he has, and he's done, right? Like right now, Alistar is useless. Yes, he's a little me shield, but like he's useless. Like he's just walking around, right? Just this member is not really doing anything at this point. And Gragas once again is walking around, but he's not really sure, and he's taking damage from he's taking damage from the we have a little disconnect here with our casters. So like he's taking damage from the Baron, he's taking damage from a lot of places. He's just not sure when to go in. But it all started off with Braum Alistar using the skill on Braum only, where he could have just waited. Let somebody need to engage first. They need to figure out, maybe you have Gragas ult first, and then figure out a target where you have Alistar and follow up, and then your team follow up, or Alistar going first, and then Gragas go in with a 2-3 combo, or throw it all to push everybody away. Like there are a lot of ways they can combo, but obviously, this game we did not see that happening. You know. Yeah.
Just completely indecisive. I agree. I will from now on. What was the word you used? It was not very
eventful.
No, the word before that. No, the word before that.
Satisfying.
I'm gonna use that from now on. Anytime someone has a bad engage, like TJ, that wasn't satisfying. That wasn't a satisfying engage. That's just a great way to put it.
What's a good
I am
word?
not satisfied by your engage.
That wasn't very productive. As productive as he would want it to be, or he could have utilized that hero, you know. But anyways, that will be the match one. Big congrats to Omega Esports. Like the two casters saying that they need to take this win, right? Because if they don't take this win, they already lost to Bigatron. So if they don't take this win, they're done. But obviously, don't count Soul of Soy out yet, because this is only game one. And after we have game one, they still have another chance, right? Maybe we can go to a game 3. Or is Omega Esports really ready for this tournament and decide to give himself, just put a pedal to the metal? We shall find out. Before we cut into the break, though, I do want to do a big shout out to our sponsors. For the Wild Rift Asia Brawl, Trovo.live. Trovo is hosting a variety of tournaments, events for League of Legends Wild Rift, with a bunch of prizes for you to claim, including 30,000 Wild Core giveaway throughout this tournament. Without Trovo's generous support, this tournament simply would not be possible. So if you're watching the stream right now, weekly Sunday matches and grand finals for Wild Rift Asia Brawl will be streamed on Trovo exclusively, so make sure to use the link and head to Trovo right away. Big shout out to Wild Rift Competitive team. Wild Rift Competitive is the central place for all things competitive. Whether you're looking for teams, looking for scrim, looking for a game, looking for anything you want, anything competitive related to Wild Rift, all you need to do is use the link in the description down below, the social links, and follow Wild Rift Competitives, and all your wet dreams regarding Wild Rift will become true. Will be answered. Not become true, will be answered. Yeah. Next up, make sure to follow our beautiful casters, TJ and D2. They are the caster for today. Make sure to follow their social media in the chat, with the link in the chat right now, to follow them for future Wild Rift tournaments, for future competitive tournaments that they will be casting. Last but not least, all the tournament matches in the previous week have now been archived in the Wild Rift Asia Brawl playlist in this YouTube channel, AssassinDave YouTube channel. So make sure to go to that playlist. If you have any matches you want to refer to, you want to go back to watch again. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a short 2-minute break. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the 2021 World Rift Asia Brawl Group Stage Week 2, Day 1 and Game 2. This is Omega Esports taking on Soul of Soy of this group stage. Very, very exciting match. Very game-changing match, I would say. Game-changing in the sense of the bigger group stage sense, right? Whoever wins this match will have a big impact on their journey. Are they going to make it out of the group stage or not? Now, the second game, ban pick, has already started. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and send it over to our beautiful caster's desk.
We are, as you say, getting into game number 2 here. My name is TJ, joined by D2. Of course, game number 1 did go to Omega Esports in fairly clean fashion. So as we head into game number 2, I'm looking for some changes to be made over on Soul of Soy. Here are the draft picks. Omega got rid of Alistair and Lulu. Soul of Soy banned out Lee Sin and Oriana.
So just to reiterate the stakes here, if Soul of Soy loses, they're not necessarily out, but they would need to win next week and another team to win for them as well. They need 2 separate things to happen, and they would have to defeat Big E-tron as well. So it would be definitely an uphill battle. On the other hand, if they come back and win the series, then Omega is out.
On the other hand, if Omega Esports win this, it is utter chaos. Because, sure, Soul of Soy are pretty much out, but there is now a 3-way race to get out of the group here in Group A. And between OneSnap, Bigatron, and Omega, we'll have some good matches. So, it comes down to this. Soul of Soy needing to hit back. Let's talk draft as it's Kennen, Aurelian Soul, Jin, Graves, and Janna for Omega Esports. Soul of Soy, bring back the Gragas, bring back the Brawl, add in Wukong, Kai'Sa, and Camille.
Yeah, this seems like a little bit more of a stable comp here if you're Soul of Soy. Like, it's something that they could use as a better, just a more consistent team fight composition, whereas last time, again, there was a bit of anti-synergy. So this is looking better for Soul of Soy. Let's see if they can execute.
Yeah. I think one of the dangers is I actually really like this Omega roster a lot more as well. I think this is a much better team fight roster for Omega. They have drafted quite well in all the games I've seen from them so far, but this is certainly no exception. Janna A Soul just has so much CC, and that sets up for Kennen. My one worry would be it's going to be difficult for Jin to stay alive if there is dedicated assassin focus, and that puts a lot of emphasis on what F2Y is doing. F2Y and Clique on the Wukong are going to be the assassins that need to shut down that Jin at the beginning of every single team fight. If Tamerlap stays alive, then they're failing at their jobs.
Okay, I have something to say about the Jin. I feel like his name is Timelapse. Right? Just like a different spelling of it, Timelapse.
Stay with Tamerlaps. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I'd believe it if you told it to me.
I'm not telling you, but I'm just suggesting it, so I don't know. By the way, that Aurelian Soul came from the opposite side jungle, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I understand A Soul things. You go fast. Dragon, whoosh.
Wait, was the red buff stolen? Looks like it was. No. Yeah, they stole the red buff. No, they stole the red buff.
Oh, okay. I'm functioning on a very low resolution screen right now, so.
Or the POV we have right now, their red buff was taken from them by the opposing team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they saw the Aurelian Soul just kind of coming out of their jungle, and then there was a vision fruit thing, whatever it's called, used, and then there was no red buff, and then you saw 3 members come out of there. I am the same. I'm on the same Minecraft quality stream, but I saw the blurs coming.
Very good blur reading, Daniel. I feel like I've told you this before, but the best Aurelian Soul on the North American League of Legends ladder is called Big Worm. And I really like that.
It's very apt. Very apt name.
Shoutouts to our big worms everywhere. We're going to start this game pretty slow, I think. It's hard to read the mini-map on our side, but no action seems to be breaking out, aside from a little bit of a Cannon Electric surge in this line. Camille, of course, more than capable of winning most duels. Ooh, I don't like that. I can't follow this. Cannon will push in. I see a Janna tornado as well. Over the wall goes the Wukong to safety. And nothing more will come from this fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't even see the kill count as well. So if someone died, then we'll have to
Doing a great
do it
job
later.
reading abilities. What I've discovered is that if you made League of Legends into RuneScape, I would keep up.
Just for our viewers who are unable. Oh, we have a bit. This is a bit clearer. Maybe not anymore. But for our viewers who are unable to understand what we're going through, basically, our producer Dave is doing his best trying to get us the best feed, but unfortunately, sometimes it can get blurry on our end, even if it isn't for you.
So, I don't know. Commentate it a little bit in your head if we miss anything. Time-lapse's POV. Over for Omega Esports. He's playing down the bot lane on the Jin, and he'll find a sick route. The Janna follow-up is there. Here's the curtain call. Have to do it blind.
Oh!
And there's a very good blocking coming out from that Brawl.
Oh.
No will come through, but that turret's going to take a pounding.
Oh, and Brawl might be in trouble as well.
017 burns the flash. Chase is there. Deep dive from the Graves will find the kill. Now you have the turnaround. A very, very low HP Wukong will find the trade table. After flash over the wall goes down. Disaster here, actually. There's no reason this should be happening. And Omega Esports lose way more than they had to here.
That was such a ridiculous fight. So it started off so well for them, forcing the flash out of the Kai'Sa that makes them go away. Take a look at the replay right now. But then as they're going for the kill onto the Braum because the rotation came in, the Wukong did a very good rotation to meet them as well. The Kai'Sa is able to pick up the kill in the end, which is very good for the side of Solo Soy here. So like you mentioned, a little bit deep there and good meeting them at the point of attack by Solo Soy.
Yeah, very, very well played. Timelapse, whose name I will absolutely not say right now that you've told me.
By the way, when the Braum was taking all, usually, you see sometimes you take a Jin ult for your team, like one of the shots, right? You don't usually see them take all 4 shots. I just felt for the Braum, like, ow, it hurts, ow, but I got to stand here. Guys, go home.
If the shield was on cooldown or they were just opting out of it, like super must have been on cooldown, but it's a long cooldown. I don't know.
I just felt so bad for him as someone who's done that in the past. It's just like, oh god, it hurts. Oh no.
Oh, pressure in. Time lapse in trouble. Will turn.
These roots. Are you kidding me? For this
call?
I think that
coming up dry.
I don't think that was a good curtain call, but
what, the Braum's in the bush?
Yeah, why is he in the bush? I don't know. I just know that route was really sick after he got the trap off. So
I think some really, really good Jin play. This has been one of the more impressive Jins I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're kind of forcing it though. It might be a kind of one-trick pony thing here. And not to put him down, it's been great Jin play, but it doesn't necessarily match with the rest of the team. So as far as just the composition and chemistry goes, although I mean, if you're this good, it kind of you match with anything, I suppose.
I mean, the Jin Janna is as close as you can get to Morgana Jin, which is a very deadly combo on LoL PC. And it's basically just if you have an enchanter with CC, you can follow up on the route to just generate a metric year of CC.
Fair enough.
So it's not quite as good as Morgana Jin, but you can still make it happen. I think we've seen that combo land exactly once.
Okay, so they had
bot lane. Brilliant Soul will die, but Timelapse and Co on Omega Esports make the right call and say, okay, we'll take the Rift Herald in exchange.
Right, but they're probably going to lose their turret in exchange as well. I was about to talk about the Aurelion Soul switching over to the side lane. Looks like he's going to be their choice for the split pusher, but the instant he went down there, and the instant that that Solo Soy saw that the Jin and the Janna were mid, they just jumped on him immediately, took him out, and are taking the tower as well.
This was actually, provided Timelapse doesn't go down here, a positive trade, because Omega Esports get the turret up top. So turret for turret and the Rift Herald in their pocket.
Ooh.
Oh, flashlight. Hextech ultimatum will be deployed, but not onto the right target, and the root is landed. There's the turn. 017 will need to bail away. Curtain Call finds big damage. Shot after shot raining into this probe shield. Won't find the kill. But still, a one-team fight for Timelapse, who's quite masterfully able to kite back. Now, here comes the Rift Herald, paying dividends in the mid lane. As yet more damage rains through, and yet more turrets fall. Omega Esports looking good yet again.
Yeah, and Aurelion Soul really wanting his revenge here. Really mad at that gank. He's coming and trying to get that damage. And like you said before, you know, you're making me say it too. Time lapse is just being masterful right now. Ooh, another kill. Oh, just kidding. It's a clone.
Really, really well played.
Anyway, so just looking at this replay, well, kind of looking at the replay. Basically, they were able to get the Camille here. Amazing route. This is amazing route after the ult comes out from the Camille. They take her out. I think the cannon was able to finish her. And then the curtain call was able to get the damage onto the Brawl to kill him as well.
That's one of those alt names that's really fun to shout, so.
It's his curtain call.
We do have objectives coming up. There will be a Drake, if I'm not mistaken, in just a few seconds. There's no
Kaisa.
Kaisa's too far forward indeed. Can you land the route? No, dodged out. Very good footwork. But the turret will still fall. Mega Esports out ahead.
The fact that he was following her path perfectly while moving, that was just his control with his fingers is amazing there.
Yeah, just really, really good Jhin mechanics. I believe even got that blue buff. Although there's no way for me to really tell.
No, you can see a very blurry blue circle around him. So yeah.
It will be curtain call yet again as this team fight breaks out. Slice chews up the back lines. That is the Omega Esports team fight. Wombo combo. The cannon up front, laying down the damage and the follow-up from behind. Time lapse yet again coming up huge.
Yeah, they're still going at it too. You see that the Janna popped her ult to make sure that they get even a better situation for them as the team fight runs down. They even get the Gragas in the end. So, wow, I keep calling it Big E-tron. Omega Esports is doing an amazing job at the moment. The Jhin, I was about to say he wasn't really landing his ult as of late. He was really doing better with the roots, but he really took it back in that fight. Landed his first 3 shots and 2 in a row on the Wukong to get that very crucial kill. So really providing all-around play here. Sorry?
He landed all his curtain call shots last fight. They were just all into the Brawl shield.
Well, yeah, but that's not that great. So, and he was walking, and he was doing, the Brawl was in the Prometheus school of running away from things, going in a straight line. So that wasn't really like too hard, but this was a very, very good from the Jhin here.
We'll swap over to F2Y over on Soul of Soy, as they are attempting to contest here by the Drake. Baron is up on the opposite side of the map, so there is some possibility. This is a cannon dive deep in. I don't think you win this. Slicing Maelstrom will be deployed. Hextech ultimatum locks down the cannon. Here comes the backup, and indeed, they will. A sliver of HP, but F2Y comes out on top.
Yeah, actually able to get that kill, but there's obviously an opportunity cost, and you see that Omega is rotating around the rest of the map, trying to get some sort of objective here. Looks like they're going for the Drake. We're having a hard time seeing, but looks like they're going for it.
Open Soul of Soy. We'll be focusing on it. You do see Soul of Soy. Oh! I believe that was stolen away. It's hard to tell. Curtain call at the back of the fight is in trouble. Slicing Maelstrom will be deployed. F2Y just has to run away. We'll get shut down. What is that?
Are you kidding? What did he even use? I can't even tell.
I believe that was the bouncing grenade, just finding the kill. And then also time elapse doing so much work. And we do get confirmation that Drake was stolen away. Oh, no, it was the Cloud. The Cloud here. So the Cloud was picked up successfully by Soul of Soy.
Yes, well done by Soul of Soy here. Good job from our Camille getting onto the back lane. They realized that the Jhin is the actual problem. Unfortunately, she pays for it with her life. Seemed like she was going to get out of dodge there, but the great at the last second jumping onto her. But a reasonable trade in the end for Soul of Soy. Although they are dying now, though. They're dying now, though.
Time lapse just walking forward.
Oof.
Click after click. 2 kills passed over to him. And as a result, I would be amazed if we don't see a Baron tag coming out real soon.
Yeah, could be the case here. It seems like for Solo Soy, they need someone to get onto the Jhin, right? It looks like the Baron was taken. But they need either this Camille to get on there, they need the Gragas to, ult on to push it back. They need to get the Wukong there, although the Wukong's a bit better using his ultimate in the middle of the team fight. But, it could... the point is someone needs to get back there.
We don't get a whole lot of value out of these early team fights as Soul of Soy are continually pressed back from them. And I think Omega Esports are on track to repeat the act they had during game number 1. This cannon may have stepped a little too far forward. Hextech Ultimatum will land. We've seen this before.
It seems like an instant replay, except with the Baron buff minions in the background.
But this time it'll open things up for some revenge. Curtain Call from the back lines will be shielded out by the Brawl. Good Glacial Fissure. Oh, and that makes this fight actually very awkward. A turn could come. Omega have to play it a little bit slower. But you do still have overwhelming damage from them, not to mention the Baron minions. So they are still going to be able to press further forward, are still going to be able to take that turret. And indeed, they'll keep shoving. No HP on 070. He'll go down. Now the dive off of the respawn. Or, sorry, re-heal from the fountain. Not finding any success, but there's such low HPs on the other side. This Camille has to want to dive in. Oh my lord, they are so low. And yet none will go down, and instead the turret will fall.
This has to be so frustrating if you're a solo, so I can't get a single kill on them, and then just punch by punch the minions force it down.
F2Y hunts in, looks for kills again, and will be denied again.
You gotta feel for Solo Soy here. They're trying so hard to stay in the game, and they're doing so many things right to try to take these team fights. They picked up the cannon, they're in a decent spot, but so much damage coming out from the minions there that even if they tried to dive, they would have gotten taken out right away. Good, discipline play here from our Camille, but you gotta feel for them.
It was a really good monsoon during that fight from the Janna, and I don't think I really realized how effective the Janna ult could be to just deny any access to that Jhin, but that's exactly what we see.
Right, yeah. Between the ult there, trying to push away and get the healing as well, and the obviously the shield that she's able to supply the Jhin, she's been doing a really good job of keeping him alive.
And we saw that during the last game as well. Stronger, who's playing the support for Omega Esports, just staying real close to the Jhin. And for a Jhin who kind of needs that sort of bodyguard protection, it really does come down to the ability of the Drake. Of the bodyguard. You do have that Drake passed over to Omega Esports. TP will be coming in here from F2Y. I'm not sure I believe in this, though.
No.
TP
No.
into the welcoming arms in the Eater of Worlds. The dragon will try to kill, and it is time-elapse to follow up. This may very well be game. Drake in hand. Here comes the shove. We'll swap over to time-elapse perspective as they go for the end. Here's the dive. Pressure around the side. Look at this Jhin damage. Flash underneath the turret. That is disgusting.
Oh my goodness.
Laying down a statement here. 15 minutes into game. And there is just nothing that can hold them back. 2-0. Omega take the day.
Wow. Very well played by Omega Esports. In particular, the Jhin play coming out from Time-Lapse. Don't call me Time-Lapse. Time-Lapse. But gets the very deserved MVP. You can see the 11 assists on the Janna as well. Well played to her. I got a feel for our other POV in the Camille, though. She was doing so well the entire time until the very end, and an ill-advised teleport comes in, basically doing a favor to the side of Omega by not forcing them to go back to deal with their own Nexus, and then just putting a kill on the silver platter to them. But unfortunately for Solo Soy, they are on their last breath. They're not necessarily eliminated yet, but they need to both win next week and have another team win for them in order to have even a chance.
Wow. I mean, what a demonstration just like TJ was saying from that Jing, like, he's crazy, dude. This guy's crazy. He's absolutely playing out of his mind.
And I do want to, possibly because I'm a support main, I do want to give presence of mind towards Stronger as well, who just played really well across that series.
Yeah.
As the support, both on Janna and Braum. Because when you, again, have a more static AD carry like Jhin, it is, I think, also about the fact that Camille never killed the Jhin. Never even got access to him. Constantly, they were denied any kind of engage into the backlines, and that is the mark of a great support.
And not just that, right? You look at the Wukong, who was, by the way, the SVP for Solo Soy. I'm looking at their their score screen now. He had 0 kills. So the Janna preventing the opposing jungler from getting a single kill is pretty impressive, I would say.
Let's quickly take a look at the post-play analysis and see what happened here. I think there are a lot of good decisions that Omega Smart was able to execute. I mean, good decisions, right? For example, taking this dragon without losing anyone on the Baron side, right? You have Stronger on the cannon able to run away, so they basically took a dragon for free without losing anything. But I don't understand why are Soul of Soy able to lose all these team fights. I feel like they're stronger in team fights with the wombo combo potential. You know, with Brawl, with the Wukong. What do y'all think?
Sorry, this clip made me laugh again with the random Braum in the bushes. Like, what are you doing?
The random, like, Winter's Bite, because what do you think that Winter's Bite is going to do? Like, why are you projectile spamming on Braum? You're not going to get a kill. Anyway, I do think there is a theoretical stronger team fight, but Omega Esports have a very high execution positive team fight.
Yeah.
Where it is all frontline, and that means that if this Jhin stays alive and the frontline finds their engage, their team fight is stronger. That's very conditional, and it relies on both the Jhin and the Janna in this case to save the day. But as you can see, they successfully did so. Here's a really good case where that Hextech ultimatum did land onto the Janna, did get into the backlines, and yet you could still see the way the team plays working out. Multiple times during this game, the slicing maelstrom from that cannon acted as the defensive wall that they don't properly have. Just AoE CC denying the assassins engage into the backlines. If you play League of Legends PC, you'll be familiar with how Galio can kind of do this. The cannon here is operating as that denial.
Yeah.
I feel like I hate soloing one person out, but I feel like the support for Solo Soy just kind of dropped the ball here, right? Dave, you were mentioning the first game, how many times the Alistair just used his, CC combo on a singular Braum, which is basically, inconsequential. And then in this game, you saw him multiple times just run straight forward with the Kaisa behind him into the Jhin, and then Jhin just got pretty easy routes. I mean, he had some amazing routes as well, but a lot of the early routes were just, you just basically tap the button and it's just an automatic route there. So I think that both times on the Alistair game 1 and on this Braum game 2, that the support really wasn't providing what they needed for their team.
Yeah. And the reason why that is, I think they're, from my point of view, what I can guess is Soy's support is not the shot caller, because you can see that the hesitation from this player, right? Like, he's thinking about going in and also not about going in. I think there's also confusion in shot call in Soy's team. The comm must be unclear. That kind of resulted in the play from Braum, right? Like, whether he should go in or not. And sometimes they're forcing a team fight when there's nothing to gain from it. Like, you saw the team fight just in mid. Right now, the reason why Omega is able to have all this advantageous positioning is because they are ahead of their opponent on objectives. Then they're coming to the dragon, right? The dragon's coming up. That's why they're coming to this area. And then hold on, there's a little disconnect right here. Let me connect it back. So back to what I was saying, I was basically saying that the Omega Smart, the team has much better objective in mind. They're calling objectives, and team fight happens along with it. They're not forcing team fights. Whereas Soy You saw the engage in mid lane just now. We can go back to it, take a look at that engage once again. This just kind of happened. Like, there's nothing to gain. There's nothing on minimap where they can, let's say if they win this fight, even if they kill Jing, there's no minion wave in mid. There's no minion wave anywhere. Actually, all the waves are not to their favor, right? So even if they kill this Jin, there's nothing they can gain out of that. The maximum they get is 500 gold, right? Like, Jing is not even worth any money at this point. If not 500 gold, like 360 at this point, right? So, like, they force this team fight. Whereas if you go back to take a look at the Dragon team fight that Omega Smart took, they were not initiator, actually. You know, they were just coming to the Dragon and then ahead of their opposition. And when Soul of Zoe came over here, it was too late because the enemy was already Omega Esports is already ready. Like they're ready to fight this team fight. Like, that 5 people here in position, whereas Camille just starting to make her way towards the Dragon.
I just want to update the situation right here, real quick. So, because Omega won next week, if they beat One Snap, then they're most likely going to be a 3-way tie in first place, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Between Biggie-tron, One Snap, and Omega, because most likely Biggie-tron beat Solo Soy, and considering that Biggie-tron beat Omega 2-1 and One Snap beat Biggie-tron 2-1, like, it's theoretically possible that Omega defeats One Snap next week. If One Snap win though, then almost certainly One Snap and Biggie-tron will be out in first place.
Yeah, if Infinity won, if Biggie-tron wins against Soul of Soy. Against Biggie-tron wins against Soul of Soy.
I'm just saying, like, Biggie-tron almost certainly wins against Solo Soy, so we'll just take it as a given, right? So they'll be 2-1. If Omega beats One Snap, there's going to be 3-way tie, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. And if One Snap wins, then One Snap and Biggie-tron will be out. So that's our situation.
Current standing. Wow. I mean, it's a brutal tournament, guys. Like, the team here, they're not playing around, you know. Everybody wants to win, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the this current standing here, so we can take a look.
Right, and just to make things clearer for the viewers, the team in first right now on those standings that you see is going to be facing off against the team in third. So One Snap will be playing Omega, and Biggie-tron will be playing Solo Soy.
Yeah.
I think that, and again, I would be very surprised if Biggie-tron loses Solo Soy, because they've just shown themselves to be stronger, despite their us losing our minds over them not taking the Baron. They've shown themselves to be very, very strong. I think they're going to beat Solo Soy, but it's very possible for Omega to beat One Snap, and in that case, we have some chaos on our hands with 3 2-1s in the group.
2-1s. Then we'll have to find some tiebreakers. Now, obviously, we have like small matches. Points. We might have to utilize some other tools to find some tiebreakers. But yeah, Group 1 is in complete chaos right now because Omega Esports took a complete domination win against Soul of Soy today. But that will conclude our matches today. Big congrats once again to Omega Esports as well to One Snap Esports for taking their respective wins. If you're watching the stream, which team is your favorite team coming to Group 1? And tomorrow, Saturday, we have Group 2, and Group 3 game upcoming. Your favorite teams will be played in that match, and you better be here on time at 4:30 p.m. KR in the afternoon. 4:30 p.m. KR, right? So be here, get your friend, share the stream, like, subscribe, turn the notification bell on. Do not miss tomorrow. Before we say goodbye, I want to once again do a big shout out to our wonderful sponsors, Trovo.live, without whom this tournament simply would not be possible. If you're watching the stream, Trovo is hosting a variety of tournaments, events for League of Legends Wild Rift, with a bunch of prizes for you to claim, once again, including 30,000 Wild Core giveaway throughout this tournament, starting the playoff stage 2 weeks from now. Without their support, this tournament simply would not be possible. So if you're watching the stream, the weekly Sunday matches, grand finals of the Wild Rift Asia Brawl will be streamed on Trovo exclusively. Make sure to use the link to go to Trovo and get your account on Trovo right away. Big shout out to our wonderful Wild Rift competitive teams. Wild Rift Competitive is the central place for all things competitive. They host weekly tournaments and events for the community. If you want to look for scrims, for team members, for teams, anything you want regarding competitive news for Wild Rift, make sure to use the links in the description down below to follow Wild Rift Competitive. Big shout out to our wonderful casters of the day, the talented, handsome, the sexy TJ and D2. Their social
make your
media
dreams
links,
come true.
yes, in 2021. All your dreams will become true if you follow them. Make sure to use the link in the chat right now to follow them on Twitter. Last but not the least, all the previous week's tournaments matches, including this week's matches, will be archived and have been archived in the Wild Rift Asia Brawl playlist in the AssassinDave YouTube channel. Make sure to go to YouTube and find Wild Rift Asia Brawl if there's any matches you wish to refer to. With that, guys, that will conclude our Week 2, Day 1. Hope you guys had fun as much as we did. Have a wonderful rest of your night. See you tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. KR time for Day 2 of Wild Rift Asia Brawl Group Stage.